Greetings, gentlefolk. This is James Duval from Donnie Darko. And I just have one thing to say. 28 days, 6 hours, 42 minutes, and 12 seconds. That is when the FREAKQUELS podcast will air.
Hello, you beautiful freaks. Welcome to a brand new episode of FREAKQUELS. I'm Age Leeson. And with me, as always,
The Fever.
my co-host, who's too gross for TV, Rory Calarasi.
They did tell me that I couldn't actually go on TV.
They've said that about his face.
Yeah. They said that you
Of
could do
all the things-
podcasts or nothing.
Of all the
It's just
things they
your
can say about him.
Running nose. It's constantly just running,
It's
and boogies
exactly
are
what
getting
they've
everywhere.
said.
Yeah. Just too gross.
They said TV is snot for me.
Yeah, oh man. That's
my God.
not for me. And of course, the podkeeper himself, he's working through his terrible twos. Young Vince, what's up, baby?
Hey, how you doing? I'm just texting my wife that I'm not going to be home anytime soon. So yeah, let's do this.
Excellent. So what's up, guys? What's new?
Do you want to get into the movies I've seen recently?
Yeah. What have you watched?
He's got
recently?
some.
We're ready? Buckle up.
Let's go.
Donnie Darko.
Oh shit.
That's it.
That's
Oh,
it.
neato.
Yeah.
All right.
It's almost like you just did the assignment.
I don't know
You
what
did
you're
the
talking
bare minimum.
Which I respect you for.
Yeah.
Bare minimum Vince. It's my nick. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
it's
Bare
my
Vince
nickname.
is, all right.
Bare minimum.
How about you? What'd you see?
I actually went to the film just recently. They did the 25th anniversary of The Mummy, starring Brendan Fraser, Arnold Vosloo, Rachel Weisz. Amazing.
Yeah?
Incredible. I'd please go see it this week since it's in. Go see it. Everybody, just go see it.
Yeah.
It's a movie they don't make movies like
Yeah.
this anymore.
I'm going to say about a month and a half ago, Beck and I rewatched the three of them.
I was
Yeah.
going to say, I just rewatched the first one, and
Yeah?
it's, oh, God, yeah. It holds up.
I stand by this. I think it's a better Indiana Jones movie than the last two Indiana Jones movies.
Okay, Crystal Skulls and Dial of Destiny,
Uh-huh.
hands down. Yes, 100%.
It's
I'm
got
with
all
you.
that adventure and excitement, and then I just
Humor.
think Brendan Fraser is just a charm factory.
He is. And then
Rachel
coming up-
Weisz is just always wonderful. Like, she's such an awesome actress.
I didn't notice this until it's
Yeah.
been a while since I watched it, but they really went to town on her eyebrows in that movie.
Yeah,
She can't help but be beautiful in this movie. It's
know.
not her fault.
I know, but they went to town. She normally has thicker eyebrows, which looks great. And they made them super thin, and I'm I don't know. The movie itself was amazing, and I love Benny.
Yeah.
I think that was a disservice, maybe killing him off too soon, because I would have loved to see him throughout the series just be that kind of an antagonist, kind of a friend, always wishy-washy. He's such a great character. It would have been cool to see him in the sequels and stuff too, but
I'm not a huge fan of the movies, but "You're on the wrong side of the river" is one of my favorite quotes of all time.
and
It doesn't matter
Yes.
whether I
Wrong side of the river.
I mean,
we
it's-
have all the horses.
Yeah.
And he's
great.
Benny, you're on the wrong side of the river.
I love that.
It's so good. But just that, and then just his performance throughout, he's so good in it. Kevin J. O'Connor.
Everyone in that movie. Yeah.
Everyone is just working. Arnold Vosloo,
Bring your
who
A
plays the
game.
mummy,
Yes,
is
everything in that movie.
incredible. He's so fun to watch, and
Yeah.
I'm where did he go? Why isn't he still making movies? Where did he go?
Well, didn't you see the end of the movie? They stopped him.
I guess so. That's true.
All right.
Yeah, but that would be my movie of the week is The Mummy, and please go see it because it's amazing. How about you, Rory?
I also went to a re-release.
What?
I did. I've been really into Spider-Man Mondays.
Yeah.
Beck and I went and saw Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. So I remember a time when everyone would say that movie sucked. And what was crazy is that they had 3 showings for this movie that came out in 2007. And they were all pretty much sold out.
Sold
Yeah.
out.
So my friend Chris Sheeran, who works at Cinemark, tweeted, he's like, for a movie that came out and was generally, everyone hated it except maybe like 2 people that I know, and I was one of them. He was like,
No!
it sold out 3 showings tonight. And I'm like, hell yeah. And so I texted him, I love that movie.
Yeah. Dude, because I remember you and I would talk about that actually right after it came out. We're like,
Yeah.
what's with the hate for this one? And then
Of
when
the
you and I
3?
first met,
Yeah.
at some point early on, we talked about Spider-Man 3. And I was kind of waiting for you to just start yelling at me. But
No.
you're like, no, I love that one. I'm like, oh, good.
Yeah,
We can
Venom
talk.
is my favorite.
I think it has now. It's kind of like the prequels with Star Wars. It finally found like that audience, or it grew onto people more.
I love it, but that's not the movie we're talking about.
Hey, you know what though? Hey, what's fun
Yeah.
is that Sam Raimi did have a contribution to the movie we're going to talk about.
Oh,
Yes, he did.
EJ, what are we talking about? And then once you tell us what we're talking about, I want to tell the people some stuff about this movie.
Yeah,
I'm going to
so-
put my feet up and just relax and let you guys talk. I might go to the
Well,
bathroom.
do you want
I'm
to
not
go
sure.
into the Donnie, or do you want to go into the convention story
Sure.
first?
Sure.
Yeah.
So, a couple weeks ago, we went to Creature Feature.
Yeah.
What is Creature Feature? Because I'm not one of you people, I guess.
Creature Feature is
Describe it to the normal person that wouldn't attend it.
it's a horror convention for nerds.
So what? And I want to go further. What is a horror convention for nerds? What is? Yeah.
Think of like Comic-Con, but specifically for horror.
But I'm saying, explain it to my child like I'm 5. What is a horror convention?
Oh, well, that
explain
tracks.
all of this
Vince,
to me.
it's fine.
Thank you.
No, so it's basically fans of horror films can go to a place
yes,
where they can meet any actor from a
And
horror
I just
convention.
want to break it down. A horror convention is someplace where you guys have someplace to go and really enjoy each other's company, each other's knowledge for what you guys appreciate. And as much as you think I would disrespect it, I appreciate it 100%. And tell me what that is, who you see there, and who you... Because the further we go with this, when you guys say, oh, I met so-and-so, I'm like... that's kind of nerdy, but like, no, I appreciate that. That's really cool that you took the time to pay money, give these people stuff out of your pocket to do these things and do all these cool things for these people.
I mean, I appreciate them doing this, like getting the opportunity to meet them. And at Creature Feature, it was really cool. We met a lot of people. We met Ray Park, who we talked about previously.
Well, he's going to be coming up in a future episode.
Yes, he is. And then we also have, who else did we talk about? Oh, obviously Tommy Lee Wallace, who created the mask of Michael Myers and put it on the costume for the famous closet scene. We got to meet him. He directed, It, the miniseries in
Halloween
the 90s.
3.
Halloween 3.
I get excited
Fright
when you
Night
talk
Part
about
2.
things that you're excited about. So just keep going.
But one of the coolest people, one of the nicest people that we got to meet, because everyone was seriously so nice. Lachlan Monroe was awesome. We talked to them about Totally Killer and Freakquels and us talking about it. But we got to meet James Duval.
So the movie we're talking about today, Donnie Darko, is a movie that I would say is like incredibly important to me, Fun fact, literally every single year since 2007 or 8, I can't recall because it's been so long, October 2nd at midnight, I will watch this movie
You've mentioned, yeah,
a few times.
yeah, once or twice. I'm not sure.
So I have not missed a year since I started this tradition. It may be the only tradition that I actually have in my life, but it's been going on for so long that I literally have people who message me and say, did you do it last night? I'm like, I did. And they're like, why?
It's cool. They know. So I'll just stop. What does this mean to you?
It's just like a
All of it. Just yeah. Tell me.
I just remember like when it first came out, I had a lot of people coming up to me and saying, yo, did you see this movie Donnie Darko? I'm like, I've never heard of it. And they're like, there's this fucking crazy looking bunny. They're like, you're gonna love it. And I'm like, whatever. And I remember I just caught it on, I think it was like Cinemax.
Yeah.
It was something like that. But I remember I was just watching it and I was really taken by the fact that it just was like such a, I want to call it like a profound movie. You know, it's like, it almost feels like an anti-John Hughes film.
Yes, I would put it like this. It's a movie that came out we were like basically in high school.
Yeah.
And when this came out, you could put yourself into the shoes of Donnie.
Yeah.
Because he kind of feels like a little bit of a loner in like this world where everything seems like it functions really well. And then his world, it's like I don't know, like he feels disconnected from it, right?
Yeah, but I mean, from the film itself, like at that point in your life, had you ever seen anything like that before?
No, and that's what I mean. Like, so you're watching this movie, and we grew up like watching like Ferris
Everything.
Bueller, yeah, and our like high school experiences that we've seen on film before. It's mostly like John Hughes related, right? Or like maybe just one of the guys or whatever. And so so seeing like a serious take on a high school experience, I think that it's kind of like the first of its kind in that sense, right? Because most of like all those 80s films, there's like a lot of comedy, there's a lot of like it's lighthearted almost, and even if there is like a serious moment here or there, this movie was just very different. It has time travel.
Yeah, because when I was using that John Hughes thing, I was meaning that more like the framework of the film feels like a John Hughes film. A very kind of messed up version.
Yeah.
But within the framework are all these conceptual ideas that are awesome. And it's
Yes.
like the first time you watch it, you're like, what the fuck did I just watch?
Yeah.
And then like the more you think about it, you're like, oh, I think it means that. Oh, I think it kind of meant that. And then you sit down with your friends and you just have these like 4-hour-long conversations about what the movie meant. And it's like, there's so many people that I've met since I saw it for the first time, who saw it for the first time, and they're like, I don't know what that movie meant. I hated it. And then I explain it to them, and they're like, oh, like that's really cool.
Yeah, you know who's a huge fan is Adam Farley. I never met him,
Yeah?
but I know. No, growing up, like we both like love this movie,
Yeah.
and he was really like this is a huge one for him too.
10 years later, 20 years later, it doesn't matter. I still don't know what the fuck is going on in this movie. It's still very confusing to me, and it's brilliant because everything is so beautifully shot. Like, what are his feelings? What are his emotions? What is going on with him mentally? Is the medication like? It's still confusing, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah,
It's weird because like we'll talk about it. Obviously
Yeah.
that's what this episode's
Please.
about. We'll talk about it, but when we do, if you have questions, I'll explain it. And honestly, like you're just gonna be like, oh, like that tracks.
Yeah, the whole thing by the end of it, it's like you get the feeling of like, wow, that was really cool. I experienced something, but I still don't understand. And that's just like I feel like him getting through all of the things that he's reading, and he's so smart and he understands things, and he like his father even tells him like, you're smarter than everyone you would come in contact with. Like, if you have a problem with them, just tell them, fuck you. Like, those are his father's sage words of advice of just like, if someone doesn't understand you, just tell them, fuck you. Like, he's so smart that I'll never comprehend it, and I feel like I'll never comprehend this movie. So, with that being said, boys, take it away.
yeah.
Please.
So at Creature Feature,
Yes.
Go. Yeah, go.
At Creature
Buckle up, kids. This is going to be a long episode.
A Creature Feature, when I met James Duval, I was very excited to meet him specifically because this is, again, one of my favorite movies. So I go up to him, and he is so nice. Like, the first thing he did, I hadn't even said anything, and he just kind of comes over and gives you a hug, and I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So we're talking for a little bit, and I told him about my tradition of watching the movie, every single year. And he's like, really? He just seemed very like, oh wow. He's like, that's really cool. And he's like, it's really cool that like I get to be here and I get to meet people, and this movie like means so much to everyone. And I'm like, would you do me like a huge favor? I'm like, I have this podcast, and it would be really cool if you could do like a shout out. And he's like, really? He's like, oh wait, hold on a second. Yeah, we should do that. He's like, let's go over here because it's a little bit more quiet and it'll sound better. And then we walk like 10 feet, and he's like, nah, it's still too loud because we're in like this ballroom and it's like packed and people are talking. And he's like, hold on a second. And he brings me back over to his table, and behind his table are these 2 doors that lead out into this like hallway that's pretty quiet. So the guy has like this big giant line filled with people, and he literally walks up to them. He's like, just give me a second, we're gonna run back here, we're gonna do this message, and I'll be right back. And he brings Becca and I into this back area, and he records the intro that you heard when you hit play.
Yeah.
and he did like a shout out, and he was so excited to do it, and he was like asking me if I wanted to do like another take, and I'm like, well dude, the fact that you did it at all, I don't need you to do anything else.
Yeah, you hear it.
Yeah. But he was just like, he's just like a really, 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 great guy for sure.
Yeah.
He curried favor within the FREAKQUELS community.
Oh, yeah. And another cool thing about Creature Feature, they did this thing where you could get in photo op, in costume kind of photo op with him. So he's in the bunny suit.
Yeah.
And they did the prosthetic eye.
I'll post the photo on the FREAKQUELS website.
Yeah, post that because it's so cool. And they actually had like the backdrop to make it look like the movie theater scene, connecting it to Sam Raimi. But it was so cool, and they did this for all the different celebrities. They had like all this cool like, oh, you could get a picture with them in costume from that movie, but like Frank the bunny.
Frank.
It was so cool to see that, like, because he looks the same. The guy has not aged in 20 years. He looks exactly the same.
He's got like the suit on.
And he has like the bunny suit on, and his hair is like down the way it was. A little blood coming out of the eye.
Dude, it was so funny because like when Beck and I got in to get the photo taken, like he looked at us, he's like, guys! Like he was so excited to see us. And I'm like, and then I got the 8x10 I got of him. He just put like, from your new friend.
Yeah.
No, he's just like, he was a really great guy. So, so we're going to talk about Donnie Darko today.
Yeah, so obviously we're talking about Donnie Darko today, and believe it or not, Rory does not like this movie
at all.
But let's get into the breakdown. So the film starts off where Donnie is kind of laying on the ground, and his bike is not too far off, and he wakes up and he rides his bike down the mountain to his house. Meanwhile, we have Echo and the Bunnyman.
Yeah, I was gonna say, depending on which version you're watching.
Yeah.
But Echo and the Bunnyman is the better.
So good.
Song to that whole sequence.
And I remember.
So before we even get started, I don't like the way this movie looks. Like whoever the DP was, it's overdone. No, this is one of the most beautifully shot movies I've ever seen.
Yeah.
When you open with that scene of them essentially coming down the hill with Donnie laying down, and
on Carpathian Ridge is what it's called.
The way they maneuver around him and then bring up to the sunlight in the background ever so subtly, it's just
little lens flares.
I mean, that's what you want, right? That's why we do this. That's why we go to movies.
What's shocking is that this was Richard Kelly's first movie.
Wait.
Yeah.
Wait.
That's insane.
Explain this to me. So what we just watched is someone's first
movie. I listened to him on a podcast talk about how he had done like short films and stuff in film school.
Yeah.
But like this was his first film.
Imagine getting your first film. You get not only the Gyllenhaals, right?
Both.
You get both.
Not
just one, but two.
You get two.
Two Gyllenhaals today?
You get a Swayze. You get a Patrick Swayze.
Not just a Swayze, but a demented pedophile Swayze, which is the only Swayze you want.
First film, and you get Drew Barrymore Noah Wiley. You get
The
Mary
librarian?
McDonald.
yeah, Mary Mc. And then you get
Is-
Seth
wait,
Rogen, young Seth Rogen.
Mary McDonald, the mom? Is
Yeah.
that the mom?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Who plays
Yeah.
Kitty?
Oh, you mean Andy
Insane-
Barclay's teacher from
Yeah,
from
part
Child's
two.
Play 2?
Yeah.
Insane Christian lady from every movie.
Yeah, she's so good in this too. She's crazy. But
All right.
you get her, and then you get
Star
a young Seth
stud.
Rogen.
Yes.
You get a young Ashley Tisdale.
Yeah.
Did you spot her in the
No,
film?
I did not.
So she's like the one young kid.
Beth Grant is who you're thinking of, Kitty
Beth
Farmer.
Grant, yes.
Oh,
She's
the
Kitty.
physical ed teacher? Yeah.
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 Just like an awesome character.
And who's the dad since we're going through the cast?
Holmes Osgood is his name.
Is that
You might know him better as
I just-
Tom Everett Scott's father in That Thing You Do.
Okay, I just want to point out that when I asked
I'm sorry, Holmes Osborne.
I just want to
can't
point
talk
out
today.
that when I asked that question, Rory looked up and to the right with such disgust that I did not know his name. That I respect that. I understand that. That's okay.
Holmes Osborne.
Because
How
I can
dare
remember him now telling his son to take the record. Yeah. Wow.
It's
Why are the lights on,
yeah.
guy?
Yeah.
How dare you? So
The cast is phenomenal.
Yeah, so the first
Everybody that
movie-
was there played their part perfectly.
yeah, everyone is great in this movie, and you get a young Jenna Malone.
I was gonna say Jenna Malone. Let's not.
which is like,
Forget
how
about
do we
Jenna
skip
Malone.
over her too? She's like
Gretchen.
Gretchen, the girlfriend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
And so you get this insane cast for your first movie.
Yeah.
What? What? But yeah, so we see where Donnie, he's riding into town.
But that's what I'm saying is that first shot of Donnie lying on the ground,
Yeah.
where you come around that corner and there's the sunset or the sun, whatever it is. It's just like
Sunrise.
as soon as you come in, like literally the first shot of the movie is like, holy shit.
You want to know something really neat about that opening shot? Also, that's exactly where he needs to be at the end of the movie,
yeah.
right?
It's almost like
It
whoever the
sets it-
producer,
yeah, it
director,
does,
they had an idea or something like that.
It's like a Fright Night setup.
Yeah, it's just
You know what I mean? Like where it's like you have the way that Fright Night starts, and it's on that like nice neighborhood street, and it goes into like Charlie's room, and at the end it's like
Sure.
the same shot.
Well,
So it kind of mirrors it a little bit, but not really.
But
like
what's,
you know,
what's
what
nice about it is that it sets up Middlesex. You know, like it shows you like the town.
the town
and
as a
then
character.
Yeah, and then what's really awesome is that at one point Donnie's riding his bike, and that Frank's red car drives by him, which is great.
Yeah.
because that car is going to play a part later on in the film. It's coming
Right.
back, but he drives. You know, we see Frank's car go by, and he's obviously dropping off Elizabeth because she's dating Frank.
Yeah.
They get, you get to see like the father, the sister, the mother reading it, drinking a glass of wine, which I guess was her choice. That was like a character decision. She just says, "I think she drinks."
I was going to say not drinking, chugging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Donnie ends up having dinner with his family, and Donnie talks about his therapy, and his sister Elizabeth, played by his real life sister Maggie Gyllenhaal, is giving him a little bit of
Really?
yeah.
Oh, they know each other?
How weird is that?
Cool.
We'll talk about typecasting. So the family and Donnie, she brings up, "Hey, are you gonna tell them how you stopped taking your pills?" He's like, "Shut up." Like
You are
"Well, I
such
don't
a
wanna-"
fuck ass.
Yeah, you're such a fuck ass.
No, fuck ass, suck fuck ass.
You can
or
go
something.
suck a fuck.
Yeah.
You could
So
suck a fuck.
great,
Yeah. Yeah.
Great
You know,
dialogue.
Great dialogue.
Really quick before we blow past it,
Sorkin was
I
jealous.
love when the father's like, he's like, well, because half of your husband's paycheck goes to the federal government, you'll regret that decision. She's like, my husband's paycheck, and then the mother just goes, aha. She's like, I'm voting for Dukakis. He's like, oh.
Yeah.
That part always makes me laugh.
I also love that Maggie Gyllenhaal probably made as much money in one film that me, you, and Rory will make in our entire lifetime.
That's where you went with that, huh?
Yeah. Well, he's talking down a female and her job, and she's made more money than we will ever make, ever.
Yeah.
At the yarn barn?
Yeah.
Yeah. The yarn barn.
No.
Yeah.
That's where she works.
So Donnie's mom tries to chat with him, but Donnie, he's not really feeling the conversation. He's like, "Get the fuck out of my room.
Bitch.
Bitch. Yeah. And she's
Your
like,
son just called me a bitch.
yeah.
You're not a bitch.
You're
You're
bitchin'.
bitching, but you're not a bitch.
But not a bitch.
Which again,
yeah.
I guess that was improv. Which
Oh, really?
Yeah, just brilliant.
Solid improv. Yeah. So then we cut to October 2nd.
Oh, by the way, with him saying that,
Yeah.
I like that also kind of establishes his relationship with Donnie, because he doesn't go in to discipline him.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
like, because Donnie does seem like a kind of kid that maybe needs some structure.
Yeah.
Maybe needs a little bit more of a firm hand from his father.
A
but like
father
he's just,
figure.
yeah, he just like, because everything that Donnie does in this movie, it kind of just like brushes it off essentially. He's just like, oh, my son's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. And also I think he just has, like, he probably understands his son better than other people in the family do. I feel like he has, like, oh, I was like him when I was his age.
You think Eddie was like him?
Probably.
I used to call my mom a bitch all the time.
I was gonna say there's
Bitch in.
a nice moment at the end of the movie where
Yeah.
he's like, "I'm crazy," and his dad's like, "No, you're not crazy. You're just as crazy as I am. It's not that crazy."
Right.
Oh, you're talking about the director's cut? No, that's in the director's cut.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, I appreciated that.
So October 2nd, 1988, Donnie wakes up and he's like sleepwalking out of his house to the front lawn, and where he's hearing a voice call out to him, and we hear the voice say 28 days, 6 hours, 42 minutes, 12 seconds, and that is when the world will end. And the guy, he's wearing like a bunny suit, and obviously this is Frank in the bunny suit. And also we see where the sister arrives home now, and she gets home and she's like a little excited about, you know, the date and stuff going well. All of a sudden the house starts shaking, like a huge crash is heard.
The chandelier.
Yeah, the chandelier. Great idea for getting around, like, showing it. And this is like one cool thing, because they just like have the house shake, so you know something just happened, but you're not sure if it's like an earthquake or whatever, but you don't know till the next day. But the way they get around it to save it for the ending to actually show it, it's brilliant.
Something really important happens at this moment also. Donnie is supposed to stay in bed when that jet engine falls in, and he's supposed to die. So really, this new universe, this alternate timeline, essentially opens up the second he gets out of bed. I just wanted to mention the alternate timeline.
So this is when we start to if you have to watch this movie multiple times, because the more you watch it, the more you get out of it. And this is when that alternate timeline happens. And so Donnie wakes up the next day. He's on the golf course, and when he returns home, he sees on his arm, he actually wrote down the 28 days and the hour and minutes and seconds. So
he takes that marker off the fridge too. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
He
He
like
just,
grabs
like,
it.
He holds it.
Yeah.
He has it. Yeah.
So when he wakes up the next day, that's written on his arm, and he goes home, and that's when he realizes that a giant jet engine, like a turbine, basically crashed through the roof of his house into his bedroom. So if he was home,
he
100% would have died, because this thing was huge. And so he returns home, and there's a bunch of like FBI agents and stuff there, and like, you know, police and his family. They're all like,
he essentially dodges a bullet, which his father recalls. Yeah.
Right. And it's just crazy, because imagine like that happening.
The amount of relief on their parents' face when he walks home and he's alive, and it's like they should still be crying and very upset that they think that he's dead, and they're like, oh no, there he is.
Yeah.
Mary McDonnell look like she's such a great actress.
She sells it.
Yeah, because I could see her very clearly, and they had that
Yeah, just like as soon as you see her, she's like, she's relieved, and you're like, okay, he's fine, it's okay.
Yeah.
The family have to get put up in this hotel, and so basically they're staying there, and Donnie and his sister.
The father is thrilled.
Yeah.
With the idea of being inconvenienced by this whole situation and having to stay at a hotel.
That scene where he's in bed,
discussing like
Frankie Fiedler.
Yeah.
I think about that all the time. I don't know. It's like he died. They say he was doomed.
Right.
Like that whole part is like it's very in
Real?
line with like
It
with
seems
Donnie
very-
Darko essentially.
But it
Yeah.
also seems real and believable.
Yeah, I like. I don't know if you thought the same thing. When early on, when he brings up Frankie Fiedler, right? I was like, and you know how later on Frank is like my father and his father before him. I was like, oh, is that like
I wonder if
someone
that's
he's
Frankie.
related to? Yeah.
So he's
And then I was
related to
like, oh,
everybody
well,
named Frank.
He would have had the kid in like
No,
10th grade
no.
or something.
But
I was
it's
like,
interesting
oh,
though
no.
that name Frank keeps coming up.
Yeah, and dying, right? Like because it's kind of like
Yeah.
foreshadowing and
100%.
So Donnie and his sister S Darko catch the bus.
Did you see that?
No, I did not see
I
it.
did.
And you said it's not good, right?
Forgettable is a nice word for it.
Oh, okay. Is it worth seeing?
No.
Okay, it doesn't. Okay, it doesn't add anything, right?
The sequel?
It's the uncle that made a
it's a
scene
sequel.
during Thanksgiving. Just
Okay,
he's done.
it happens.
He doesn't get to come over anymore.
Yeah. So, and we get this cool montage.
Oh wait, before we go past that, I just have to mention something. I love the line. He's like, when he's like smoking the cigarette with his
Yeah.
friends. He's like, "What happens if you tell mom and dad about this? You'll put Ariel in the garbage disposal. You're goddamn right, I will."
Yeah.
And like
I love
friend's
that
just like, I
line.
love the friend's like, "Yeah, this is good shit." He's like, "It's a fucking cigarette." But I love that observation of like how teenagers kind of respond to things like that.
Yeah, they're
it's
like,
just
"Oh,
like,
this
"Oh,
is
this
the
is good
best."
shit." He's like, "It's a fucking cigarette."
Yeah. Donnie's like ahead of his time. But yeah, we get this cool montage and the use of Head Over Heels by
Go ahead.
Tears for Fears. And I love that song. It's like
Yeah.
always one of my favorites.
Iconic.
Yeah, and it talks about, you know, like time slipping away at the end.
And the way they use the lyrics with, yeah.
Yeah.
I like how the camera starts and it's like sideways because
Yeah.
it's like the world is in a sense askew. This is the day that should never have happened.
Yes.
So it's almost like visually allowing you to understand that like everything's kind of off. Everything's kind of wrong. This is a day that should never have happened. But go on.
Yeah. No, and I love that, like, you get this tilt and then the kids, like, piling, like, coming out of the back of the bus and stuff. And just, you start to see everyone throughout the school, like, the different teachers, different students and stuff.
Can I take you through this?
Yeah, go
Okay.
for it.
So the tracking shot.
Yeah.
So we get to establish the school, right?
Yeah.
We get to meet the bully Seth.
Yeah.
And you follow Seth for a little bit. Then you get to see Mrs. Farmer and her Jim Cunningham book, which she has over her heart
Yes.
because she's sold on this guy.
She's into that guy.
You get to see Gretchen for the first time, and she plays an incredibly important role in terms of Donnie getting to his ultimate destination in the film. Passing bullies doing coke.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Seth Rogen.
The teacher ignoring it.
Well, that's the thing.
Go
Principal
ahead.
Cole walks by and missing or choosing to ignore the
The
coke
latter.
bump.
The latter.
Yeah. Kind of showing that he's out of step with the students and also maybe just has lost passion for the job.
Sign of the times.
We get to go, we see the mongrel.
Yeah.
That bronze statue that Donnie later
Yes.
puts an axe into. Sharita Chen, probably writing about Donnie Darko in her notebook. Mrs. Farmer and the sex pervert, Jim Cunningham. Principal Cole joins them. They shake hands. And they're essentially welcoming a wolf into a school filled with children.
Sheep.
The authority in the school is essentially in charge of looking out for the children's well-being, right?
Right.
Is kind of exposing them to danger, so that's great. So that group, Jim Cunningham, Miss Farmer, and Principal Cole, they pass the only two people in the school who see the children correctly and talk to them and seem to have their best interests at heart, which is Mrs. Pomeroy and Professor Monatoff. There's this awesome look of disgust on Mrs. Pomeroy when she sees Sparkle Motion.
Yeah.
And it's almost like meta because Drew Barrymore herself was an
a
exploited child star, you know.
Was she?
And of course, like the last words of the song "Time Flies," which is
Yeah.
right on the nose, right on the nose. So why all this is important? I just went through a long laundry list of all the people. So all the characters in this movie at this point, they don't consciously realize it, but they are all playing a part to get Donnie to Carpathian Ridge, essentially. They're all being moved around like chess pieces. We'll discuss it more as we go along.
Yeah, it's very much like the Scottish play. Like everything kind of seems like it's almost built for this one character's, fate.
Yeah.
And
they all know it.
question
They all know it somewhere too, because there's that
Yeah.
part with the two teachers are like sitting in it looks like a break room,
And they
they're
look
just
at
like
each other like-
yeah, they're like Donnie Darko, and they're like I know, and they're like laughing
Yeah.
because they just
They
all
get it.
kind of know
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Good.
But yeah, so in class, Drew Barrymore is going over Graham Greene's book, The Destructors, which does play like a kind of an important role in this as well, because there are elements of the book that kind of comes into Donnie's actions, whether it's intentional or not. You know what I mean? In this case, it's like Frank is guiding it, but maybe it's like underlining some of the like. It's also Donnie's like deep conscious of like reading the book, and he's like, I'm gonna do that too. You know what I mean? Like, who knows?
It's another piece that's putting information into his head to get
Right.
him to where he needs to be.
Yes.
Where also the church lady is like, these books are causing the problem, whereas his mother is like, no, the books are not causing the problem. The way you're raising your children is what's causing the problem. These are books. These are ideas. These are thoughts. These are just things that people are using to educate themselves. But
Yeah.
if you're not going to use them that way, that's fine. And then I love the fact that she then accuses her of being a bad mother because she's not raising her family properly. And it's
Yeah.
just it's
Yeah,
so
pointing
good.
fingers and
Yes,
yeah.
it's beautiful.
So in class, a new girl arrives, Jenna Malone, and the seat
That's
picking.
Gretchen.
Oh yeah, Gretchen.
Jesus.
And the seat picking was a little wild.
Who says that?
Yeah, she's like sitting next to the boy who you think is the cutest, and she's like looks around the room. She didn't really say, "Oh, it's Donnie Darko," but immediately Drew Barrymore is like, "Hey, get out of that seat and
Yeah.
let her sit there."
She's like, Joni, get up.
"Yeah, Joni, get up."
Hey, did you catch Joni? Like when she's like pick the boy, sitting next to the boy you think is the cutest, and there's like that POV, and she sees all the people turning and looking at her, and you see Joni, and she's like, yeah,
I know. Joni's like excited for it.
yeah, she's
Ready.
kind of hopes that maybe
Yeah.
she's gonna be the choice.
But I was like, that never happened to me ever
Ever.
in
That's
school.
never happened to anywhere
Where I just
ever,
came into class
other
and
than that
like,
one time.
pick the girl you want to sit
Yeah.
next to that you think is the cutest.
If a teacher asked me that, I'd be like, no,
no, I'm
Uh-uh.
not. I'm not showing my hand.
no, no thank you.
How mortifying would that be in
Yeah.
all reality?
Why are you
Yeah,
doing this to me?
That's like horrible.
That'd be really funny if it's just like she sat next to like one of the boys, and then that boy had like a girlfriend. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, I think I've lost control of my class.
Well, you did that. You caused
created
it.
this.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, I meant that metaphorically. I got to go get something out of my car, never to be seen again.
Yeah.
It would have been. She could have just said, "Sit on the floor anywhere." That would have been better.
Right.
That would have
Pick
been
an
better.
open
than-
seat.
Yeah.
But,
I don't
like-
care.
I like that line, you look like you belong here.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
there's,
good.
There's some like
Yeah, I
some
do
weird
like that
layers
line.
going on there.
If you
Yeah.
were to go anywhere and you were nervous about something, and you walked into a room and someone said, "You look like you belong here," how good would that feel?
Unless it's coming from Jim Cunningham.
Yeah. The HW of this movie. So Donnie's dad almost runs over an old lady looking for her mail, which we find out later on is
Yes.
an important factor.
Roberta Sparrow.
She
Roberta
was.
Sparrow, grandma's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember my favorite role that she played was the crazy cat lady down by the lake in The Simpsons, where she would wash the cats and then throw them at people? It was
Yeah.
my favorite.
She's
When
great.
when they're in the
If
car.
no. If there was a human version of that lady in
It's
The
her.
Simpsons,
That's- yeah.
okay, thank you. That's it. Go ahead.
That when Donnie and Eddie are in the car and they're talking, There is a weird effect on Eddie's voice. It's got like this tinny metallic-y sound to it.
Yeah.
Every time I ever watch this movie, which apparently is a lot, it always jumps out at me. I just wanted to mention
that is 100% for effect. That is sound.
It has to be.
No, I'm telling you, that's sound design. Like if I were in charge of that, like that'd be a thing that I would do.
It's just an interesting choice.
Because you remember it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's off-putting.
It's not bad. It's not like a weird bad.
But,
it's just kind of a thing where every time I hear it, I'm like, man, this movie just has so many little things.
Little subtle little hints, and agreed.
Yeah. And so then the next scene we have where Donnie's in therapy and he's talking about Frank, his new friend. And the therapist is like, kind of like, all right, okay, getting stuff out of Donnie the best she could.
Which I thought you were supposed to not like her, but I enjoyed her, and I thought that she was somewhat helpful. Like, and not most of those characters in these movies, I feel like they have a negative connotation, and they're just evil or something like that. This lady genuinely felt like she had
the therapist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had his best interest out in mind.
I feel like there is this weird trope in films with therapists that they always stifle, not really help the person that they're supposed to be helping. Yeah. And so it always comes off like they're stifling, the person and like preventing them to reach full potential sometimes. Do you ever notice that?
Yeah,
in,
it's like that.
Films?
It's like what's her face in Scream 6. Remember her therapist?
Yeah.
She's like, okay, so he's like, you have to open up to me. You have to open up to me. She's like, okay, so I stabbed somebody. We're done.
Yeah, that's enough.
Let's
get out of here.
Gonna have to cease.
Yeah.
You remember that one time Danny DeVito opened up to his therapist?
The therapist, I think, maybe the only person in this movie that knows how to talk to Donnie the way that Donnie needs to be talked to.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Even in the hypnosis, it's not like, like there's a couple times where she is comforting him.
Yeah.
And is trying her best with him and like has the best intentions for her patient. And again, it's like most of the time there's this weird trope in film, I feel like, where therapists always come off as almost like a bad guy.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And I feel like this one actually has like a more positive spin on therapy, which is good. It's, I don't know.
She's I never hear anyone ever talk about her in this movie. Like whenever people talk about Donnie Darko, for some reason the therapist seems to just not come up. But I think that performance is like it's so caring, but like professional. Like she's always professional, but there's like this warmth that comes out sometimes. Like she legitimately does care about him.
Yeah, and she did like a cool thing too, and I love this attention to detail. One of the bullies has like a little bit of a mullet and like the mustache and stuff. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool because that's actually accurate to that time. Her hairstyle, the way she wears it in the first scene is very 80s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you really think about it, Drew Barrymore probably should have had like her hair like really puffed out and like kind of crazy, since it's like a later 80s movie. But I like that attention to detail.
No, I agree with you 100%. She just seems like a real person during like 1988.
And she's dialed in. Yeah.
That's okay. That's for Dr. Lillian Thurman. That's Catherine Ross. Was she in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid?
Was she?
Let me take a look.
Yes.
Yeah?
Oh.
Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Outstanding in this movie.
Yeah, she's one of my favorite characters in the movie.
The therapist?
Yeah.
Who I thought was one of the most manipulative people in the movie. Because I feel like, she had an ability to control him and get things out of him that he wouldn't give information to anybody else but her. So I kind of felt like she had this power over him that he didn't even expect to have. I'm sorry if that's weird.
No. I think what it was is she actually took the time to like really listen to him.
Yeah, but she also like gave the impression of like her reaction to things like, oh, this is really weird. Like, well, no, you're a fucking psychologist. This should be like not outrageous to you, but you should have some realm of like, okay, this is how people behave, but she just seemed
Well,
very
you think
off-putting.
it's normal for someone to, like, a patient to come in and be like, I'm experiencing time travel?
Or like it's like, oh, I made a new friend today, and it's like real or imaginary.
And that was one of
It's just like
that. No, okay, so
he never mentioned.
let me say
talking
that
rabbit.
that's kind of the thing that pissed me off, is that he went in and said, I made a new friend, and her initial reaction was, is it real or is it imaginary? Like, how would that feel to you if you were going to a psychiatrist and your family was making you go someplace?
Well, do you get a sense that maybe prior to the events of this movie that maybe Donnie has seen things before? Because that's kind of it.
Donnie's definitely.
Do you know what I mean?
Shit.
Like
Yeah,
I think that's
get
more
Yeah.
like business as usual kind of tone.
Then let me just say, I don't like the feeling, or I don't like the vibe that was initially given off by her with that initial statement of, was it real or imaginary? But maybe that's like the frank attitude that she has, and you are supposed to get from her. Maybe that's right.
I think she's just like being professional.
Maybe that's it.
That's like the tone. But we were saying before.
Hey, I don't like when people are professional.
I
So-
gotcha.
Yeah. No, but I also I'm so curious if did you ever see Harvey with Jimmy Stewart?
Harvey Weinstein? Oh,
Harvey.
No, it's he plays a character who has an imaginary friend.
I
who's
know
a
exactly
bunny.
what
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was always curious if like that, if there was any kind of influence that bled into that, like this movie.
We're on to you hack.
Yeah, right. No, I was just curious because that would be kind of cool. So in class, Donnie
so
is
just EJ, just so you know, what you're referencing, the first time I've talked about that since that original reference, now is the first time I've talked about Harvey. That what you're talking about. I haven't thought about that since that actually came out. This is the first time I'm thinking about it since you mentioned it.
Oh, really?
The original movie. I know what you're talking about. Yes.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about that since that time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So I'm gonna have weird dreams tonight. I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Yeah, so in class, Donnie is watching a video of Patrick Swayze, who plays the character Jim Cunningham, and he's talking about controlling your fear. And there's either fear or love, and that's it. That's how things work.
That's it.
You could either put it in that category or this category.
That
Nothing in
video
It's so
is amazing.
Yeah.
Like I love how sometimes you see like the boom mic dip down.
Yeah.
It's just like just slightly wrong. I love that kid. He's like, I'm not afraid anymore. I'm not afraid anymore. It's just
Clearly
like,
afraid.
oh my god, even that music. It's just like, because I've seen videos like that before.
Yeah.
Those bad infomercials.
Yeah,
You know?
I love those. I love bad infomercials.
Me too.
And just bad commercials in general. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I'll watch old training videos on YouTube
Because they're the best.
and they pop up and it's like an old training video.
I've
for
said before,
Wendy's.
I love bad acting.
Yeah,
Bad
I
acting
love
is the
bad
best.
acting and just like the use of like the sound design is so off because it'll be like, and then it like has these weird edits
And a boom mic dipping into the
Yeah.
shop.
They got
so
all the
good.
hallmarks down.
yeah, they did.
I didn't just look at the mirror. I looked through the mirror.
I look through the mirror. So later on, Frank visits Donnie again and gets Donnie to use an axe on something. We don't see it at first. But eventually it floods the school.
Did you like that image that they slip in? It's like, it looks like walls of the school with like lockers, and there's just all this water.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It
neat.
looked awesome.
That's like when you talk sometimes about having like images that you'd like to pull from some of these movies that you could just stick on your wall.
I was going to say it was
Yeah.
like Shining-esque.
Well, it was more just like very like surreal, you know,
Yeah. It looks
Different.
awesome.
I haven't
And-
seen that before.
nifty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Neato.
we find out that he flooded the school, which canceled all the classes, and some minor vandalism where the axe is like somehow
Sunk him into the head of a... Yeah.
a bronze statue.
Yeah. Not easy to do. Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A
lot of force.
Did you like that janitor's hat?
Yeah.
I was a huge fan of that janitor's hat.
And I like how like it what's written on the sidewalk?
They
again?
made me do it.
They made me do it. Yeah, I love that. I thought that was cool.
There's some sort of force.
Just the way it's written is like.
There's some sort of force or power that's also within Donnie, because the ability to bury an axe into like a bronze statue, you know, like would probably require a little bit more strength than that of like a 17-year-old kid.
To pull the sword from a stone.
Yeah.
The same amount of force required. Yeah.
So there's definitely something working through Donnie in this movie.
Yeah.
Something stronger than him. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. So young Seth Rogen is harassing the new girl.
I like your boobs.
Yeah.
What a great line.
Seth Rogen. Ugh.
Yeah.
So
if he could go back, he'd be like, "That's my best line."
I think it's his best movie. Moving on.
Yeah. So Donnie offers to walk her home, and she has some baggage for sure. Where her stepfather.
On emotional issues, she's like, I got emotional issues too. What does he have?
Yeah.
What kind? And
We're
then
connecting.
And then she describes it.
Yeah.
Oh, stabbed my mother 4 times.
Yeah, and then we moved here and we had to change our name, so that's why I'm being called Gretchen now.
Yeah. So you want to bring that up again? You want to talk about it a little more?
Yeah.
I don't.
And Donnie, he's like, "Hey, why don't we go together?" And she's like, "What?" He's like, "Oh, that's what we say
That's
around
how
here."
we say it around
Yeah,
here.
we just like, we should go together.
Yeah.
And she agrees. She's like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, let's go
She was
out."
like, "Let's go steady," and then she brought out a milkshake with 2 straws. They shared it. It was weird.
I like when he's just like, where are you going? She's like, I'm going home.
Home.
There's a good line though. She says, she's like, Donnie Darko, what the hell kind of name is that? It's like
superhero?
some sort of superhero or something.
How do you
Yeah.
know?
And he's like, what makes you think I'm not? Because like that's
Yeah.
feeding right into a lot. Just like that name, Donnie Darko, like the alliteration, like a Clark Kent or like
Right.
Michael
Peter
Myers.
Parker.
But
Peter Parker.
but
Yeah.
also the idea of being able to come up with something that smooth to say to a woman
What makes you think I'm not?
makes you think I'm not.
But that kind of going back to that thing I said about the statue, like that maybe there is some sort of
supernatural.
when he's not.
or,
I would say probably when he's not conscious, but some sort of thing when he's like sleepwalking, or maybe he does have the ability to have strength. Of
superhero.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also he's a person out of his time,
Mm-hmm.
right? So maybe that enhances certain things too.
A time traveler.
Yeah, because he's not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He should be dead.
Right, and so being a person out of the correct timeline maybe has enhanced him in
Perhaps.
different ways. Obviously, he's doing stuff that
Or whatever.
is supernatural.
Or whatever that is out there that maybe like opened this time rift, maybe is supplying him that power to get him back into that bed,
Right.
so that existence
They
doesn't
can.
collapse.
Exactly.
Because that's the thing. Like obviously something would have had to have ripped open.
Yeah.
Like there would have been maybe something in the future that maybe opened up like time, right? And like maybe this is like their effort to close it. I know it's like such a weird movie because it comes off like again what we were saying before, like a John Hughes movie, but then there's all this like weird shit within it.
I love how much you thought
It's
about
kind
it.
of
It's awesome.
I love it.
Yeah, it's kind of like like Final Destination, where it's like course correcting. So like you're supposed to die on this plane, but because you got off, now death is finding a new way.
This is even
Right?
a little bit more serious though, because
Yeah.
what it is that like later on in the movie, and I don't want to jump ahead or anything like that, but there's these like
Worm.
like these
Spheres that come out of your
Yeah.
that
yes.
come out of each person, and what that is for the audience is it's a visualization of fate.
a lead
Something
to where
pulling
you're-
you, like
yes.
where you think that you have control, but you
Yeah.
are literally operating within God's design.
Yes.
So the fact that he
Sees it.
essentially got out of bed, he was supposed to stay in bed, so he went against God's design, right? So then it's like
Yeah.
to kind of right.
Yeah, no,
So
I'm with you.
The second that you like undo that, then it kind of fractures everything, and like literally existence is going to collapse into itself. So it's a little bit
depending
more
on how you
serious.
read it. Yes.
Yeah. No, because that's what they always say. Like you step off the path, it creates a butterfly effect.
Yeah.
And so anything like that, yeah, there's always a chance of literally destroying the universe. So like this is the universe kind of pushing back a little bit.
We gotta close that
Yeah.
loop.
Yep. So in therapy, Donnie's therapist hypnotizes him, and he talks about Gretchen.
Wait, I'm sorry. Before we get to this part,
Yeah.
they have this thing where they show the kids talking about what happened and about how like school had been canceled.
Oh yeah.
So the little girl, she
Charita,
says,
oh,
no,
all of it,
the
yeah.
little group of girls are talking, and she's like, what's feces? And she said, baby mice. And then I was like, can we
Ew.
see some of these baby mice? All right, if there's like mentions of mice, I'm bringing it up.
We got it.
All
We're
right,
there.
all right,
We're there. It's okay.
There may not have been mice in this movie, but god damn it, they were mentioned.
Yeah.
Honorable mentions.
Give him a break. He's in pain. We're trying to send him a Percocets. It's
Yeah.
okay. He's getting there.
Everybody at home, my back hurts real bad. I messed it up.
So
I'm loopy.
his therapist hypnotizes him, and then he
Very
starts.
easily, by the way.
Yeah.
Like it takes all of 20 seconds for her to hypnotize him, right?
Yeah, and then he starts to talk about Jenna Malone, like Gretchen.
Yeah.
And and then Christina Applegate.
Yeah.
And he's like real turned at this point.
He gets
that
it.
he's about
He
to like
knows.
take his pants off.
Yeah.
She's like wake up and
So Donnie should have had questions.
yeah, like why are my pants down?
Why is my hand down my pants?
Yeah.
Why do you look uncomfortable?
Why
I
do
think he knew, though. As soon as he woke up, it was like, yeah, I was doing the thing.
Yeah, yeah, because maybe subconsciously, like
He's
was like,
woken up
I was
before with
thinking
his
about-
pants unbuttoned, with his hand
Yeah.
down his pants. Yeah, he's been there
Yeah.
before.
Hey,
He knows.
fun fact: Christina Applegate was not the original person in the script that they mentioned. It was supposed to be Alyssa Milano, and I guess like her mom said no to the whole thing because she thought. I guess there was like some kind of a thing that had occurred at that time involving her. I don't exactly know the specifics, and honestly, I didn't care to look it up. But she was kind of uncomfortable by the whole thing. So I guess Christina Applegate was like, "Yeah, go nuts."
Yeah.
She's like, "I don't care,"
Cue
because
the
she's
meme,
awesome.
Cue
Yeah.
the meme of Alyssa Milano fanning herself in Charmed. Okay, go ahead.
okay.
I wish I knew that.
Wait, do you not know that meme?
I don't.
So I'll go home and Google it. It's okay.
I don't have a computer or electricity.
So in school,
Oh, it's late. Oh, God.
So in school, the principal, he's
Terrible
running
principal.
like this.
Yeah, just it's.
This test where he's having each student write like.
So they were taking Iowa tests. When I was in school, I took Iowa tests. My daughter is in school now. She's taking PSSAs. What was it called when you were in school?
I don't remember.
Do you not remember?
I think we're on different.
PSATs.
I think we're on different scenes.
No.
Yeah, no. This is when he's having each student write the what was
They made me do it.
graffiti.
I'm sorry, because I
Yeah.
remember like him being in the office with his parents, and he was like, "Your test scores are off the charts. They're actually
Oh, okay.
frightening."
I was like,
which
wait.
talked
He's like, "Your
That's why I
eye-
was like
yeah.
so confused.
yeah. I also I
Your
know
Iowa test
I-
scores
I-
are intimidating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. So I understand the scene that you're talking about where the police are in the room and they're having each kid go up to the board and write what is it?
the phrase that
They
was
told me to do it.
graffitied. Yeah.
Yeah. They told me to do
They
it.
made me do it.
They made me do it. Unbelievably illegal to do. None of those kids have lawyers present. None of those kids have parents present.
It was the 80s.
Well, that's the thing. But I just want you to know, kids out there, if you're ever questioned by the police, don't talk to the police. Just say, I don't answer questions. Just moving forward. Keep going. I'm
You know-
sorry.
Well, no,
You know-
but it's funny because Donnie writes, and then the teacher
And then the
puts a
teacher's
giant
like,
question
yeah.
mark.
But that's my point, is that don't incriminate yourself. Don't give any information to the police that you don't have to give. If you're not offered information, don't give it up. Don't talk to the police.
This is
kids.
Vince teaching the children of America not to take accountability for their actions.
No, I'm just saying, don't
This is
talk
a
to
bit
police.
called legal advice from Vince.
I'm just saying that
Young Vince.
if you give police any information, they could twist it and use it against you. So just don't talk to the police. That's all I'm
See, to me,
saying.
I thought it was just to create the cool visual of having Donnie Darko with a question mark.
See, I thought it was also an excuse to say the name Day Dennis. I don't know why that always jumps out at me every time I watch it.
So,
Is this why you guys keep me around?
yes. Yeah. So one kid picks a fight with Donnie.
Seth.
Sorry.
Yeah, Seth.
In the
Because he
bathroom?
thinks, Donnie blamed him for what happened.
And
Yeah.
what basis does he have to go off of that?
That his dad's probably
Hearsay?
shitty to him.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
He's just like an angry kid.
Yeah. He's getting
Yeah.
kicked
It's like
off the lacrosse
basically
team.
hearsay.
He can't get into Duke. Yeah.
He's
I
probably
get it.
also doing a lot of coke based
much
off
coke.
of the tracking shot.
Yeah. I get
Hey,
that.
someone said you think I like Michael Jackson. Fuck you, man.
Someone said you think I.
Because I do.
Why'd you kill him? He said someone thinks I said I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
Okay.
don't.
I didn't. No.
I don't, and I didn't
No.
ever.
Nope. Not allowed.
So Donnie's out shooting some bottles with his buddies, and they're chatting. And
What are they chatting about?
The Smurfs.
The Smurfs.
okay.
Smurfette.
Yeah,
Wow.
and Smurfette.
What a great conversation. When he breaks it down to Gargamel,
Yeah.
fantastic. I loved it.
It's like Gargamel created Smurfette
Yeah.
to trick the Smurfs, but
Plus
their
they're
goodness.
They're asexual. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Love that whole conversation.
And that's like that feels like a conversation like our friends would have over like something. You know
one
what I mean?
one of you or your friends
Like-
would have that conversation.
Yeah.
She was
And
sent
then
in
I
as
was like-
Gargamel's evil spy.
Right. It's like like the goofiness of something, and then someone going, "This is really why they made this, guys."
But the overwhelming goodness of the Smurf way of life.
So
Just completely defending the dwarfs from Lord of the Rings. Like, no, they were right to defend the mine of Moria. It's not that that's what they're supposed
their
to do.
territory.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have where they actually witness another person almost hitting what they coined the phrase calling Grandma Death, which we find out her real name in a little bit. But
Mrs. Farmer.
oh,
Please stay out of the road.
yeah, please stay out of the road. And then at the PTA meeting, they're discussing this incident, and Kitty Farmer is blaming the book The Destructors, which is being taught by Drew Barrymore's
PTA
character.
doesn't ban books.
Yeah. And you have like, Donnie's parents are there, and they're just like, oh, this is like kind of like a waste of time.
It's OG Karen behavior in the
Yeah.
sense that people are dying, but she's worried about books.
Yeah.
Like people are literally dying in this town, and things are happening, but she's worried about what books kids are reading. So yeah,
I just like Donnie's parents' reaction to the whole thing because I feel like
the
that
dad
all the
is
time.
amazing.
He's an awesome actor in general.
Yeah.
The two of them are just like so much fun to watch, but their reaction to Kitty is like literally how I feel about most people when I
Just
listen to
that
them go on about
interaction with
nonsense.
people. Yeah.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Donnie encounters Frank again, who tells Donnie he got away with it, and a little discussion on time travel. He's like, I'm a time traveler.
It's just in that tone.
Yeah.
it.
Wait,
Perfect.
Do your James Duval.
No, I want you. We're gonna ride with yours.
Okay. I'm a time traveler.
Oh boy, I'm a time traveler.
Oh boy, I'm a time traveler. I came from the 1920s.
Feces of baby mice.
Feces of baby mice. Hell of a thing. So we get where the next day in class, they are watching another video of Patrick Swayze and partake in this exercise. But Donnie...
Oh boy, that whole scene is so awesome.
Yeah.
It is perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Donnie just doesn't agree with the exercise. He's like, you can't put things into just two categories, fear or love. He's like, there's so much more, and his teacher is like, just partake in this exercise.
Or you're gonna get a 0.
Yeah.
Which I love.
You get a 0 for the
Yeah.
day. And at this point, we don't hear what Donnie says.
He just kind of turns around. It's the most perfect cut.
Yeah.
Because
It's a
it's like he
perfect cut.
turns, he's about to say something, and then it's just like, all right, let's go over one more time what you said.
Yeah, and basically...
the parent
He's in the
teacher
principal's
conference, yeah.
office now with Principal
Yeah.
Cole.
And so it leads to Donnie's parents coming and getting called into the school, talking with the principal, and they suspend him from after school activities
Well,
for
before we
6 months.
before
right?
we blow past it,
Yes.
Eddie's reaction to what Donnie said
yeah,
is
where he's,
so
like,
funny
kinda,
because it's like he just
like
kind of
chuckles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, that's what I would have said.
Yeah. Coolest
What
dad
did she say?
ever.
She's like, he told me to forcibly insert the
Sir,
life.
into my anus.
into my anus. Yeah.
He's just like,
But I love
just like that performance from
It's a
Beth Grant is
perfect
so
dad
fu-
reaction.
No, like her reaction, her performance when she's like telling them what he said is so funny. She's so fucking mad about it.
Yeah, she's like, he told me this, and they just laugh about it.
As you should.
Yeah. So Donnie, it's October 10th, and Donnie asks his teacher, which is Noah Wiley,
Another great character.
another great character, about
Was-
time travel.
Was he a teacher or was he a librarian?
He was a teacher.
Oh, I get the joke.
Thank
He's
you.
on the show The Librarian, or is it movie series?
Fuck you, EJ. Keep going.
But I understood the reference. I saw what you put out there.
Thank you
And I
for
got it.
explaining the joke.
Yeah. So that's what.
Have
it
you ever
meant,
seen
right?
that? You would love that. I honestly
Do you know what
think you would love that.
mansplaining is? I'll
It's
tell
when
you.
one
It's
man.
when-
No, EJ, you don't explain it. Let me explain it.
Oh yeah. So Donnie asks his teacher about time travel, and he
And I
gives
love the
him
look he gives.
a book. Yeah, by Roberta Sparrow, who used to be a teacher there. She was a nun and she taught at the
There has
school.
to be a vessel made out of metal.
Yes, and so he's like, oh, kind of like Back to the Future. I love the visuals of that
Yeah.
movie, and
So futuristic.
so futuristic.
I
Yeah.
thought this movie was
Um,
futuristic.
So he gives him the book by Roberta Sparrow, which turns out to be the real name of Grandma Death, and the book is called The Philosophy of Time Travel,
Yes.
which plays a huge part into Donnie's journey itself, because he feels like he relates so much to everything she has
Is
in this book.
this where we begin all of the chapters from the book? Or did it happen before? I forget.
Well,
Like all
so
the-
you watched
all
the
of the
director's cut, so I think that's why.
Did I?
You watched the director's cut. So
You
there's a
watched-
lot of so the director's cut
Hey, do you
Vincent-
want to talk about it?
I'll just say this. I'm not a fan of the movie being overly explained.
Okay.
Because I think that the movie is interesting because of what it doesn't say.
Yes.
You know, the fact that it lets you draw your own conclusions and theories is kind of why I think it has like the staying power that it has. You know,
Yes.
but that stuff, what you're talking about, like when it like all the text comes up on the screen, which is so cinematic to have
Yeah,
you fucking
it's
read a
great.
page of a book. That's something specifically from the director's cut.
Was that an OG or no?
No,
No, it wasn't.
No.
All of it.
no.
So all of the stuff that I saw from the book that it said chapter whatever that wasn't in the original movie.
No.
Oh, okay. I don't remember that.
Um,
It was good though. I enjoyed it in the director's cut.
All right. So Donnie then tells his parents, and
what was
and
not said?
now his therapist, and the links between Frank and Roberta Sparrow, and he talks about his fear of dying alone,
Yeah.
which
is
Yeah, the dog.
freaks
sad.
him out. Yeah, because he brings up his puppy.
His dog Callie.
Yeah, and how she went under the porch, and
And-
ever since then he's had that fear.
Is
Because
this
he's like she went under the porch and she's like, to die. He's like, to be alone.
to be alone?
to be alone.
Is this
Yeah.
before or after he says that the crazy lady whispered in his ear, "Everyone dies alone"? I forget.
Everything.
Well, yeah,
on
this
Earth.
he brings this up too.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
like the parallel, like not parallel, but like the links of, I'm reading her book. She
And-
said this to me. I'm experiencing stuff with like time travel and everything. She said that to me. One of my worst fears ever
Is that
is to die alone.
Yeah.
Which later on is like, we'll get there too. But like, when he finally does embrace it, it's not like he's scared or at this
there's
point
so much
he's so
to
much
look-
like
He says that he's like, because there'll be so much to look forward to.
Yeah.
I love it, Jake Gyllenhaal, when he says, I don't want to be alone. Mm-hmm. Like, I just... Ugh.
And he's kind of sad about it.
Yeah.
I kind of enjoy that because it's like he's saying something that is completely true, whereas you'd like to think that you're by yourself or you have family and people that you love around you, and when you die that you'll have all these people here with you, but essentially you're doing it by yourself, which is I find it comforting because it's like it's inevitable. Like,
well, you're a sociopath, so it's okay.
Hey man, fucking preaching to the choir.
No, it is like a.
Do you know what I mean, or am I crazy?
No, it's. I mean, I don't know how I feel about it, but it is this weird journey that you do take by yourself.
Yeah,
it's like you spend your life with friends and family, but at the end of the day, that is like that one little part of your life that you do have to go out by yourself, and it is scary.
Yeah, and as much as like people will amount to you that like, oh, we'll be there for you. Like, yeah, you may be there for me and you may be there at the end, but like this is going to be a thing that I have to do by myself, which I find eerily comforting. Like just knowing that at the end, this is something you have to deal with. How do you feel about death, EJ? Are you welcoming it?
It'll never happen to me. I'm better than it.
Why? Because you haven't died yet, and that's proof that you're immortal?
Yeah.
All right, that makes
sense.
So
far, so good.
So far,
I checked your expiration. So on the back of VJ's...
So far, so good.
On the back of VJ's neck, there's actually an expiration date, and you're good for a while.
Yeah. So...
I would just maybe not get too comfortable on this planet.
I was trying to get deep in it. How do you feel about it? Are you okay with it, or honestly, how do you feel about it? Are you okay with death, or is it something that you fear?
Actually, I think it's worse losing people than like if I pass, I know I lived a great life. Like I had literally.
You're happy with the outcome.
So thankful for everything that ever happened in my life and all the people I had in my life. It's such a blessing to have lived the same lifetimes as all the people I got to live with, you know? Mm-hmm. And so if I do pass, I know I'm happy and I lived a great life. I think it is harder when it's other people because then the losing anyone is always hard.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you a story. So one time I was in the car with Will Perna. And
wait, are you making a joke? Or are you being okay? Good. I'm sorry.
So I'm in the car with Will Perna, and he says to me, he's like, it's crazy. Like one day, we're both gonna die. He's like, who do you think's gonna go first? And I'm like, I don't know, but I hope it's you.
Are you gonna tell a joke? No. And then
I'm
sorry. Did I make a joke?
No. Fucking. That's perfect.
That's good.
It doesn't. It literally doesn't get better than that. Yeah. Go ahead.
But seriously, I hope to dance on both of your graves.
Fair enough.
Hey, that's cool with me. I just have a good time.
EJ, yeah. I love when people in my life die.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah, like I love that feeling of knowing that I beat somebody else. You know what I mean?
I made it.
Like I see people that I grew up with, and when they just start falling over, I'm just like, I'm better.
I'm the best of us.
EJ, Eej,
yes.
Fever.
Eej.
Thank you for being real with me and like giving me a part of yourself.
Oh,
Rory, thank you for continuing to be the asshole that you are.
There's nothing for me to give you.
There's just nothing, and just fucking soulless. I love it. No heart, no effort. I love it. It's good.
Yeah,
it makes me happy.
So while watching football, Donnie witnesses weird worms that lead people to their destinations. Not like worms, but like the spheres that we were talking about earlier. Yeah, it's like the fate, right? Pulling them along. They do look like they're kind of like earthworms, like directing you to where you're supposed to walk and go to.
I love the idea of each individual person having the bubble come out in front of them and them falling belong and like just without knowing it, and Donnie having the bubble come out of him and having a choice of I can follow this or I can stay where I am. and he gets giddy and excited about like, no, I'm gonna follow this.
Yeah.
He's the only person in the film that gets to make his own decision, which is really interesting because he has to make a really important decision by the end of the movie that only
I
he
was
can
gonna say
make.
because he is the linchpin of where
I like that that's given to him too. It's not just that like, you know, he's gonna get pulled back into that bed. It's like he gets to make that choice. Like, do I, you know, keep living and existence collapses into itself, or do I sacrifice myself for everybody? He's like almost like a messianic
I was gonna say
figure.
he almost accepts it willingly. Like, I
Yeah,
have to do this.
it's like, I
I don't have. He doesn't. I almost feel like at a certain point he's like, I don't have a choice.
At the end of the movie, it kind of boils down to being like a love story, because it's like like he gives his life so that Gretchen can have her life.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Which,
Awesome.
yeah, I can't wait to talk about that later too, because I like.
Hey, I already said what we need to say about it, so shut the fuck up.
Yes, Rory. I'm sorry.
It's a more delicate way to do that, but okay.
Yes.
Go ahead, EJ.
So yeah, no. So Donnie, his thing, his fate leads him upstairs to the closet where he finds his dad's gun, stashed in a shoebox.
In a
Basically.
shoebox, ground level, with a piece of cloth over it.
Yeah.
What a great hiding job, Dad.
Yeah. It's kind of awesome.
Dad, I don't know if you heard, they have these things. They're called safes.
Yeah.
But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, I think didn't his wife buy him a gun rack?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gun rack. He doesn't even own a gun, let alone enough guns to necessitate a gun.
A gun rack.
Be careful, Wayne, or I'll break up with you. We broke up months ago. So, Donnie and Gretchen go for a stroll, and he hopes to kiss her, but she's like, no, I want to wait for a specific kind of moment.
At a point that'll remind her how beautiful the world can be.
Yes.
Which, yeah.
And
Awesome.
so it's really funny.
And right now there's a
Yeah.
fat guy smoking a cigarette watching
Cigarette
them. Is
right
that what
on.
she said?
Yeah.
Just like a guy just like watching them.
So
Which,
Donnie's...
I didn't get paid a lot of money for that role.
Oh.
No. It was a lot. It was a cameo. I didn't have a line. I didn't have any lines or anything like that.
So just like this podcast, you
Yeah,
just didn't
exactly.
get paid.
Yeah. It's weird. We got paid for your time on the set of Donnie
How?
Darko.
Yeah.
How?
I don't know.
We didn't even know each other.
Yeah.
Check out all these diamonds.
And I'm just going to throw them in the trash.
Call me Cool Dr. Money.
Cool Dr. Money?
Why?
Wow, you got your PhD.
Do you remember the show My Brother and Me?
My brother and me? No.
No? Do you remember that show?
No.
Oh, jeez, it was a
But I love-
Nickelodeon show.
No, keep going with it. We're there.
Oh, it was a cool show from the early 90s.
My brother and me?
Yeah.
Is it Pete and Pete?
No, sort of. Just
Kinda.
not as quirky or indie feeling.
Okay.
But go on.
All right. Anyways,
Not as quirky or indie.
so Donnie's parents meet with his therapist, and she basically is asking them about Frank, and
I don't believe he ever mentioned a rabbit.
yeah, and wants to do more hypnotherapy.
The dad has nothing to say.
Yeah.
He's just frozen in fear, which is fantastic. Because he's just like,
It's like, what?
he's just lost. He doesn't have any lines. The mother is broken, and he's just there, just kind of lost, like just fucking checking out the lights.
Well, I
Yeah.
guess that's kind of like a bombshell you weren't expecting going
no,
on.
but yeah.
Yeah.
All those shots, though, keep going, because
Oh, yeah, no. So meanwhile, Donnie encounters Frank again, and this time, this is kind of like happening while he his
all
parents are like
intercut.
talking. Yeah, it's like intercut, and his parents are talking to the therapist, and it cuts to Donnie, and Donnie is looking at Frank in the mirror, and he has a knife, and he keeps like trying to stab it in the eye, but
Into
there's like
the
this
dimension.
field like.
Do you see where he's stabbing him?
Yeah. In the eye.
And did you see the shape that it's making? It's making the shape of a bullet.
Did not notice
Yeah,
that.
take a watch.
Oh.
Go back.
Yeah, we'll have to. Excuse me, I'll be right back.
And I'm back.
Oh wow! Hey, sorry it took 2 days, guys.
I went home took a nap.
I went home and I forgot about it.
I
and then-
haven't eaten.
I actually didn't
yeah.
even watch it.
Yeah,
But I've been gone for 2 days.
But I went on YouTube and it was just like one after another, just conspiracy videos.
I got
about,
cat videos.
Yeah,
Conspiracy
So-
videos.
I was just, it was Mr. Ballin, and I just kept watching his videos over and over and over.
I kept spending Vince's Donnie Darko paychecks.
Yeah. So,
His residuals.
so looking back on that scene, I didn't watch it.
Sorry.
Meanwhile, Donnie encounters Frank again, and we see this happening. And Frank is kind of just like standing there as like Donnie's like literally trying to go to town on his eye, but there's like this force field, like a bubble that kind of seems like it's preventing any real damage, and it's cool because his eye is getting warped, like you said, and but yeah, so in school the next day, Jim Cunningham comes to visit, and he's doing like a little like kind of like seminar situation. And we get to see a young Ashley Tisdale. She's like the second one that asks a question.
Is she the one he brings up on stage and then gracefully brushes up against her?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
At a very, very inappropriate young age. Yeah, got that.
I love this scene because it's like every single kid wants to refer to an authority figure as the Antichrist. You all have that fantasy.
Yeah.
Of just calling someone that's full of shit. How much are they paying you to be here today? You just
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Because I've felt that way before. It's like, well, I just think you're the fucking Antichrist.
I just think you're the fucking Antichrist. So Donnie Darko calls him out on his bullshit. He's like, everything you stand for is just bullshit, basically.
It's like your sister's putting on weight. Tell her stop eating fucking Twinkies.
And you're getting bullied by other kids. You want to just lift
Go
some
take
weights.
karate.
Yeah.
Kick him in the balls.
Kick him in the balls.
He's like, you. Yeah, you.
You.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Well, because it's like, I think Jim Cunningham is basically spewing a bunch of easy answers.
Yeah.
Which like, you gotta look inside yourself and say no to fear. And he's just like, no, be proactive in your life and you'll be fine.
Yeah. The problems that you feel are bothering you, just take a step and and do something about it.
It's basically saying, do something about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Donnie vents to Gretchen about the whole incident, and it's a really nice scene.
His whole opinion is very grounded and real and fact-based and very understandable, which I really appreciate.
I have rants like that all the time.
I don't listen to them when
I
you
go
tell
home
them all the time.
Or Becca, she has to listen to me doing stuff like that all the time. Like going around the house, ripping things up,
Yeah.
smashing stuff.
Smashing things.
I broke stuff.
Just on a tangent.
Yeah.
And,
You know how many computers I go through a year?
7.
422.
23.
Oh, damn.
Break like more than one computer a day.
I know.
It's a lot.
I've got a lot of problems. But go on.
So in school, Donnie's science teacher and they're discussing a little bit about the portals and destiny and breaking away from destiny sometimes. And at one point, Donnie's hitting him with like some good questions.
He got about 3 minutes into a very deep conversation with a teacher, and the teacher was like, I can't discuss this anymore because I'm going to get fired.
Yeah, if I talk any more about this.
If I talk any more about facts and things that actually happen, I'm going to get fired.
So one day, Donnie finds the wallet of Jim Cunningham as he's walking home.
I like that you tell it as a fairy tale. So one day, go ahead.
One day, and randomly,
know where he
it's on the
lives.
ground outside of Jim's house. And it's like, now you know where he lives.
One of my favorite lines in the movie is,
Yeah.
now you know where he lives.
Now you know where he lives. So Donnie and Gretchen present their idea, and it's basically like little glasses in their science class for infants.
Memory generators.
Yeah, and everyone's like listening, and it seems like a cool idea. But the teacher brings up maybe the children need darkness, and I was like, Vince, do you need darkness?
Yes, you need darkness to see the light.
Do you ever think that might be
Noted.
part of their development?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is part of their development.
Right.
Do you want me to give a parenting trait that I have that like I try to live by?
Yeah.
Put up some drywall.
Jesus Christ, Roy. I'm more than that.
There's more to me.
There's more to me than just putting the same drywall.
Set my level.
over.
While you guys are talking, I'm gonna set my level. So I try to
Wait. Can I just ask? Do you have like a Kool-Aid Man problem? Is that why
just busting through and giving people my opinions.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Ask Rory about the soapbox.
Can't get them down from it.
It can't. I'm just. So honestly, I have this theory on life. If you look for the darkness, it's always there. If you look for the light, sometimes it's hard to find, but it is there. So if you're constantly going your way through life and looking for darkness and negativity and things that are going wrong in the world, you're always going to find it. It's always there because it's always present. But if you take the time and you really look and you look for the light and you look for the light at the end of the tunnel, it's there. It's not easy to find. It's not the easiest thing to do, but it's there. And if you look for it, you'll find it. And that's a better life to live than constantly looking for the negative in life. So that's I'm sorry. Sorry.
No,
Vince.
that actually was beautiful, and I
Fuck
think,
you, Vince. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Fuck you, EJ? No,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Something like that.
something like that.
Yeah.
No, that was beautiful and so true. I feel like that is a good.
I don't
way
know if
to
you're
live.
making fun of me or not.
No,
I don't know where to go at this point.
I'm
Okay.
being serious.
Okay,
Like,
it's
that's
okay.
a good way.
I'll make fun of them.
Oh, thank you, Ray.
Makes me so happy.
Do you find drywall while looking around for lights?
If you were to come over to my garage and in my basement, you would find so much drywall.
Oh,
But
yeah.
why does he have so much drywall? Everything's fine.
He wakes the
Everything's
family
fine.
up at like
God.
6 in the morning.
Thanks,
It's like ringing a
guys.
cowbell. It's like, get up, guys. We're putting up drywall.
So happy I shared with you.
We don't have money to eat, Dad, but you have money for drywall.
I've made the kids eat drywall at this point. I just break
Shut
it,
up and eat your drywall.
break it into little pieces.
I don't want to eat the drywall anymore, Dad.
Mix it into
It's
milk.
gross. It tastes like paste.
So chalky. Why is it so dry?
Can't you just put bread like normal dads?
Nope. Can't do
No.
it.
All right.
I don't
right.
hear you putting up drywall.
So Donnie
Honey, is that you?
and Gretchen present this, and meanwhile Seth Rogen ends up picking on Gretchen about her family history.
Didn't your
and,
dad like stab your mom?
Yeah, and
What if people start putting in images of like Satan, shit like that? Would
pretty
you
cool.
show your kids? Didn't your dad like stab your
your-
mom?
Yeah.
I love his reaction to it. The teacher's just like, get out.
Yeah, just like
To the
throws his
principal's
hand in
office.
the
Yeah,
air.
it's like the coolest delivery of get out.
Get out, yeah. And Gretchen races out of her class, and then Donnie chases after her, and that's when she kisses him. So it's like
It was beautiful.
it was a beautiful moment.
Yeah, it was like he's running away and he wants to explain something to her, and she's like, "No, this is the moment." What
Yeah.
we was talking about before, this is it right here. I love that.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's like feeling all those, like those negative and positive emotions, and then that's when you kiss somebody. Maybe there is something beautiful in that. Kind of pulls you out of it. I don't know.
I'm holding back to kiss you right now, Rory.
I know.
Oh yeah.
You got drywall on your breath.
So that night,
So chalky.
so chalky, so pasty. So that night, Donnie and Gretchen go see Evil Dead, and Gretchen falls asleep.
Is that an actual movie or is
Yeah.
that like made up?
Fun fact. So initially, the movie that they were showing was supposed to be Chud. Right?
Chud.
Did you ever see Chud?
Really?
No, okay. So Chud rocks. But they wanted to show the movie Chud. That's why at one point when Donnie's going on his rant about Jim Cunningham to
He calls him a
Gretchen,
Chud.
he calls him a Chud.
Yeah.
But they were supposed to be seeing Chud, but they couldn't find the rights. They could not find out who had the rights to Chud. So you know who stepped in? Sam fucking Raimi.
Yeah.
And said, use my movie,
Okay.
you can warp it, and you don't have to pay me money.
I love that.
Because that's Sam
He's-
Raimi.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
I love Sam. Like one of the best directors of all time.
Yeah.
and just underrated.
Do we talk about him on the show ever?
Who?
I don't know.
No.
Have we?
I don't
talked
think
about
so.
it?
No,
I don't know.
not once.
Not once.
Nope.
Never.
No, never.
Yeah.
Did I mention I saw Spider-Man 3 this week?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Moving on.
All right. So they go to see Evil Dead, and Gretchen falls asleep, and that's when.
Wait, no. In all seriousness, how much do you appreciate that?
Oh,
That callback.
Dude, it's impossible to love Sam Raimi any more than we already do.
Okay.
Right.
All right, fair enough.
He's
Hey,
amazing.
weird fact though. So it's Evil Dead. It's a double feature. It's Evil Dead and The Last Temptation of Christ, the
I saw
Scorsese
that.
movie. And what is that movie about? It's an alternate universe in which Christ denounces the cross, right, and lives a normal life. And
Never
then-
saw it. So
Oh, you
yeah.
never saw it?
No.
Oh, okay. So,
So, I'm learning
he
that.
basically chooses not to be crucified, and kind of lives like a normal, like life. You know,
Now that movie I will watch.
it's interesting. But it kind of ties into the movie
This a
itself.
little bit, too.
You know,
Yeah.
so yeah,
So
alternate universes.
while they're watching the movie, she falls asleep, and that's when Donnie sees Frank and asks Frank like to
The
take his
scene.
mask off, right? So he does, and we see it's like a young kid, not much older than Donnie, and he has like a major eye
wound.
and like blood dripping from that wound, and it kind of just it shows Donnie like this portal that kind of opens up into the film, and within that portal we see the image of Jim Cunningham's house.
I love the line. Why are you wearing that stupid bunny suit? Why are you wearing that stupid man suit?
yeah
So good.
That's a
So good.
fucking awesome line. That's what he wrote on my 8x10.
yeah
Why are you
Do you
wearing
want that
stupid
on your
Tombstone? Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
yeah. And so Frank tells Donnie to burn it to the ground,
Yeah.
Just awesome.
which
Yeah.
is awesome.
If you want to hear something, that's what you want to hear. If you're going to burn something,
Burn it
burn to the ground.
And Donnie actually has a little bit of history. He burned down something else previously before all the
Little experience.
moments with Frank. Like in his normal timeline, he burned something down. So he's no stranger to doing this kind of stuff.
I also like the foreshadowing of like Donnie being essentially a kid, a teenager, and like him being guided by this bunny who is essentially also a teenager and a kid. So there's no like maturity between the two of these people. It's just he's a kid also.
But there is though, because he's now something that's beyond being alive. So he
Okay.
knows something that we will never know.
That he's trying
wisdom
to teach. Yeah.
beyond the man suit.
I love the layers. In
I
this.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at school, they're holding a talent show.
Hey, real quick before we move on past that, when I was in high school, there was this kid who was kind of like goofy, you know, and wasn't one of our known scholars, we'll say.
Are you talking
And-
about you?
No, but he passed away a couple years after we graduated, and it's like at this point he now knows so much more than I'll ever know.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like such an interesting thing, death.
Yeah.
It's just you know the answer to the most important question that there is. But moving on.
Yeah. At school, they're holding a talent show, and we switch back and forth to Donnie and this talent show. So we see Sparkle Motion,
Notorious.
which is Donnie's sister dancing to Duran Duran's Notorious, which everybody...
What a fucking cool scene.
It's so good, yeah. And everybody
Great
in the school is
montage.
like loving it. Maggie Gyllenhaal's there,
She's
Drew
in it,
Barrymore,
yeah.
the parents, they're all like in watching this, and they're all loving it.
Chinese girl's mom, she's in on it too.
It really overshadowed Autumn Angel, whatever
Yeah.
the fuck
Oh
it's
no,
called.
I think that was the point.
Get off the stage, Sharita!
Chorita.
Yeah, poor Charita.
I know.
Um,
Shut up.
So then Donnie, meanwhile, is burning the house down and returns just in time for Gretchen to wake up. She's like, oh, did I fall asleep? He's like, yeah, the whole movie.
Yeah.
She basically does fall asleep. Like, it's like within 5 minutes of the movie. Because, like, the thing is hitting the, like, the little bench outside is hitting, you know how it's, like, hitting the...
It's like the very beginning
porch.
of the movie.
Yeah. And it's, like, not even, like, 5 minutes within the movie, you know?
Isn't that weird that in 1988 that would have been a fairly recent movie that had come out?
Yeah,
Evil
that's
Dead.
so
Not weird.
wild. Because it's such a, like... It feels such a, like an anchor to horror.
Yeah. It's like, you're right, 100%.
And so to think, like, this movie in 1988 has only been out for, like, maybe not even, well, like 8 years at that time.
Yeah.
Right? Barely. Yeah. Which is insane to think about that.
It's like a current movie.
Yeah.
I like how he comes back and she was like, "Was I asleep through the whole?" He was like, "Yeah, you're the perfect alibi." Yes. You were
Yes.
asleep.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
you were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody asks, I don't smell like gasoline.
On the news, Jim Cunningham, he gets arrested for having child pornography because they find this secret room, and within it is all just like child pornography.
Yeah. Who'd have thought?
I like
would've thought?
I like Elizabeth's delivery of "Oh my God."
Oh my god. So Drew
I played
Barrymore.
golf with that guy.
Yeah.
We already went over the cast of this, right?
Uh-huh.
Like the idea to get Patrick Swayze to agree to play this part is your movie's got to be
Amazing.
good.
Yeah.
Like you can't ask Patrick Swayze, "Hey, could you be in this movie? You're going to play a pedophile,
Yeah.
and at the end of it, you're going to look really bad." You got to have something that he's
Because
like,
it's like
yeah,
a
I'm in.
damaging thing. Like,
Yeah.
even
That's
as
one
like
of those
a
things that,
lead
like,
actor like
yeah.
that. It's like
He's
oh, yeah.
not typecast, but that will carry through. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's Sam Wheat.
Wow.
Sam Wheat forever, man.
Wow.
Ghost rocks. But anyway.
Drew Barrymore gets fired because of her book being
Fuck.
the cause of all the recent spike in destruction and yada yada. So Jim Cunningham gets charged, and the one lady, Kitty Farmer,
Kitty Farmer.
she asks Mrs. Darko to go with Sparkle Motion to Las Vegas.
None of the other mothers are available to go.
And she's like, yeah, and so
There's a reason.
and if she could like chaperone this trip, and at first she's like, no, I don't really want to.
Bad weekend.
It's a bad weekend, and then
At least in
she's
New
like,
York.
your commitment to Sparkle Motion is just not where we want it to
Sometimes
be.
I doubt
we
your commitment to Sparkle Motion.
Yeah, it's so good.
Now, as a parent, I understand that. I completely understand where everybody is leading to, where she has to go with the daughters, and it's just perfect the way it
Yeah.
all lines up.
Yes.
Rory, thank you for audibly yawning into the microphone yet again.
Yeah.
So
I'm doing it too. I'm just doing it off the mic.
So Mrs. Darko tells Donnie she's going to chaperone the trip, and Elizabeth will be in charge while she's gone. Donnie writes a letter to Roberta Sparrow and hopes to put it into her mailbox at one point.
I love when, real quick, when Mrs. Farmer asks Rose to go,
Yeah.
and she's like, of all the mothers, I would never dream of asking you, but none of the other mothers were available to go.
Yeah.
Backhanded compliment
I know.
ish.
I always
thing.
love that in like seeing it on film or like television. Backhanded compliments,
Yeah.
like from people like that kind of character. It's like it's funny.
Who plays Mrs. Church?
Who?
The
Miss
church
Farmer?
lady, Miss Farmer. Who plays Mrs. Farmer? I
Beth
called her Miss
Grant.
Church.
Beth Grant.
She is perfect.
Remember when Chucky killed her?
I was going
going
to say she's everything that she's in. She's been fantastic in. She may be typecast, but typecast perfect.
She was apparently really stoked to be in this movie.
I would-
Like she was I heard the story that she was
Hey,
like
man,
jumping
all
up and
these
down
y-
on her bed when she got the call. She was excited.
That's awesome.
All these
Yeah.
years later, why wouldn't you be?
Oh,
This
yeah.
is this is iconic,
This is a
one.
cult classic. I remember it just like we worked at FYE and people would always be coming in
asking,
buying this movie.
oh,
like,
buying it, not even renting it.
yeah,
buying
like literally coming in, like, do you have Donnie Darko?
Dude, it was like a thing.
And it was like one of those DVDs that would just sell all the time.
it. Like that. That doesn't make any sense to me because again, that opening shot of Donnie lying on the ground and then coming around the corner and I don't get it. I don't understand why
For a
people
first
think it's
time director,
oh my god,
I don't get
so
it.
overrated.
Yeah.
Come on.
So October 26th, Drew Barrymore is all cleaned out. Like, she cleaned out her desk. She's about to finally leave for good.
And she chooses to write a word on the blackboard.
She leaves cellar door written
Famous
on.
linguist said that of all the infinite combinations, the cellar door is the most beautiful sounding or something.
Do you know I quote that all the time here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Cellar door.
I do. Cellar door.
So, Donnie chats with his therapist, but he's under hypnosis, and he admits to the recent vandalism and works towards like Frank's bigger plan. And he's like, Frank is going to kill, and the sky's going to open up, and as he's like, oh my god, he's here right now, and he's like freaking out. The therapist finally wakes him up, and she's like, he's crying, and she's embracing him, and this is the first time you kind of see like an adult figure and Donnie like embracing in that kind of like loving way,
Yeah.
and, or you know, like in a parental kind of caregiving way. So I always thought that was like interesting to see, because he's not like close with his mom or father like that, or his sisters.
I feel like his mother would like to be that close with him, but he is so shielded and off-putting to her that they can never have that
Just
relationship.
gotta put that wine glass down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel
It's a
See
barrier.
her with that? Oh my god.
And he, even though he like kissed Gretchen, we don't really see where they like actually like have like a comforting
Yeah.
embrace or
And
anything.
then the conversation with his father at the end where his father's patting him on the back and he's like, I'm crazy, and his dad's like, no, you're not crazy, I'm crazy. Like, yeah,
Director's
there's
cut.
It's a director's cut.
Jesus Christ, I'm sorry guys.
It's okay.
You gotta get with it, man.
Get your shit together.
Get your shit together.
I'm sorry.
Life ain't all about drywall,
Hey
buddy.
man, I'm sorry I watched more movie than I was supposed to.
So October 29th, Donnie's sister got her acceptance letter
To Harvard.
into Harvard. Yeah, not bad, pretty good. That's incredible.
I mean, this day and age, not really, but anyway.
Yeah, so they decide to throw a celebration, like a Halloween party, and she's like, nothing too big. And then I love the cut, and it's like
Literally,
a
there's
huge
just
party.
Yeah.
So Gretchen shows up and to this party, and at this point, she talks about how her mom isn't home.
Yeah. She's
And
gone.
a lot of
My
her
mom is
stuff's
gone.
gone, and she feels like her stepfather
Found them.
Yeah, like found them, and she called the police. The police were like, go somewhere where you feel safe or where you can be safe. So she runs to Donnie's house.
She runs to Donnie, essentially.
Donnie, yeah.
Yeah.
So she shows up, and he's having this huge party and stuff, and
Go to your psychopathic boyfriend. You'll
Yeah.
be safe there.
yeah. Yeah, so she says this to Donnie and stuff. And meanwhile, Mrs. Darko calls to say that they're catching the red-eye flight back from Las Vegas. So she'll be on the flight, and she should be home by tomorrow some point. Setting something else up. It's all brilliant. And I love that they use the dry erase board as like plot points to like throughout the film, you know.
I like right before his mother leaves, how they're in that room together, and he's like, how does it feel to have a whack job for a son? And she's like, it feels wonderful.
Yeah,
I love those
That's-
moments, those little moments.
That's super real. And then I also love when they're getting in the car, getting ready to go, and he makes sure to give both his mother and his sister a hug goodbye.
That's a director's cut.
God damn it.
yeah. Damn it.
Wait, that wasn't in the movie?
No.
No,
Why wouldn't they put that in the movie? That was beautiful.
I don't know.
Yeah. So the
That's
party,
on the drywall.
I'm
cut.
sorry.
Yeah, so the party continues, and now it's officially October 30th.
Officially.
And Donnie finds a note from Frank on the fridge, and it says Frank went out to go.
Frank
get
was here,
more
gone
beer.
for beer.
Yeah, and Donnie grabs Gretchen and realizes they're running out of time. And so him and Gretchen and his two buddies, Hulk Hogan and
Yes. What a great costume.
in the other costume,
Chinese silken hair. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, they're running out of time, and they rush out to see Grandma Death. Now,
Donnie like looks into one of those spherical
yeah, and it's
portals.
hers, and it seems like a blue sky of like just clouds and
Happiness?
happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah, oddly enough,
Weird.
because she's going through something pretty traumatic at that point. But
Or do you think he's like looking into her future? Like he like looks into that portal and he sees where she's gonna end up, and that's why he gets kind of like, we have to go now,
yeah,
because he needs to save this person that he loves.
right.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
That's cool. So then the kids all bike up to Grandma Death's,
Bike up.
and
Which I felt was homage to E.T. and Steven Spielberg in a way. Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah.
very 80s.
Yeah.
Very,
Yeah.
just a time.
Kids
period.
on bikes. That's
Yeah.
what the 80s was all about.
Hell yeah.
And they get there and they're like looking around. She's not anywhere to be seen. And so Donnie is like, we have to enter through the cellar door. Adding
knew.
to Rory's notes of before, everyone is just trying to push Donnie in, like course correct him to get where
They're
he needs
guiding
to
him
go.
to that bed.
Yep. And so they go through the cellar door, and that's where we leave it to that son of a bitch, Seth Rogen, being a D-bag.
Yeah.
Him
what
and
he does.
his pal,
His actual name is Seth.
But
it's
are
not Seth
robbing the
Rogen.
house.
Yeah, who'd have thought?
Seth Rogen and Seth, the other actor, are I guess there to like break in, maybe steal from this
Her
lady.
precious jewels. Remember
And
that?
My pearls.
oh yeah,
says
yeah,
that.
that's right. And they get into the scuffle that leads to Gretchen getting hit by a car.
Yeah.
Not just any car.
But not any car. It's actually Frank who's driving the car. Frank in the bunny suit. It's a great reveal. Because the
She's
first time
laying
you
up-
watch it, it's like, oh shit, she just got like basically murdered.
She's
right?
laying down and the car runs over her.
And
right?
then you see like the feet step out, and then it does like the pan up to reveal that it's Frank in the
What were
bunny
you
suit.
doing in the middle of the road? What were you thinking?
Yeah, what were you thinking? And we see such a great reveal, by the way.
Yeah.
Because at this point, we just think Frank as like a supernatural figure, and not realizing he's just like
He's
a young kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Such a cool reveal. So at this point, he's like yelling at Donnie, like, "What were you guys doing?" And Donnie ends up just shooting Frank right in the eye.
Beautiful.
Murdering him, and tells his buddy to like run off. Meanwhile, Seth and Seth Rogen, they just like run off. Who knows what happens with them? Who cares?
We're done with them.
Yeah, we're done with them. So the next morning,
We just know that their futures are bright.
yes. So the next morning, Donnie sees a haze, like a hole opening in the sky, and he's like, I better drive up to the hills, like where he was in the beginning. And then it all starts to make sense to Donnie in a way, like he
all coming together.
understands. Yeah, like it's all starting to click. And his mother's plane, we see, is beginning to crash, and he's like, that's the metal vessel that's needed for time travel. And we see the turbine from the plane was actually the one from her plane. And Donnie finds himself back to his bedroom on October 2nd.
Happy.
And he's happy. He's like laughing in bed.
Elated. Yeah.
And
Because like I know in the narration that he gives, he says that he can like sigh relief because there's so much to look forward to. So I don't think Donnie's afraid
No.
to embrace what's going to happen because he knows where he's going.
No, I think that's one of the beautiful parts in life is acceptance.
yeah.
He's
And-
almost excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, he awaits his fate this time. And
Not to be corny or do a callback here, but that's kind of my thing about I honestly, I'm not joking, I find death comforting because it's inevitable. You can't stop it. There's nothing I can do to stop it. So it's just going to happen. So I might as well embrace it and enjoy it and live the journey along the point till I get to that point. Yeah.
yeah,
Sorry.
absolutely.
I'm excited for your death too.
You talk about it every
I
time we're
know.
together.
I know, it's so cool.
So we see where Donnie gets killed by the jet engine. It crashes through the roof
Awesome.
over into his bed, and the room just gets
Annihilated.
destroyed. Yeah, annihilated. And we see, this great montage, and it's using Gary Jules. Originally, the song is done by Tears for Fears, but an updated version by Gary Jules, and it's slowed down, and it's one of the most. It's like a perfect use of a song I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Probably one of the top best moments of song usage.
Right. That's what. Yeah. Exactly. Like it plays out, and you see, the different people that, their lives were completely changed while
By
Donnie was
this
alive.
Simple event. Yes.
Yeah. So now, what is their fate without Donnie? You know what I mean? So.
Well, I think it's almost like they all wake up and they had a glimpse of this alternate world.
I think so too.
But
I think
it-
they
but
all
it's almost
experienced
like-
it, but like some are dreams, and maybe some are thinking about it. And
I always interpret it as like when you wake up and there's almost like a nightmare or a dream that you have, and it's there, and as you're like trying to hold on to it, it's pulling away.
yeah,
So I think they all have like some sort of like an effect from what they experienced in their dreams and like what they saw, but like I don't think it's permanent.
right.
But I love
James. Frank how
touches
he
his
touches
eye, which is like always gives you chills.
Yeah.
Patrick Swayze, Jim Cunningham,
Crying.
just sobbing because with like self-loathing.
yeah,
It's just like a man who just hates himself.
He realizes what he's done.
It's just so like powerful.
Yeah.
you know.
yeah.
And it sucks he doesn't get caught technically.
Yeah.
He kind of goes off free, but that's a moment. I love
Yeah. I wonder if that's
Miss
ever happened
Farmer.
before.
Miss Farmer, like just like that look of like she just looks so disturbed.
yeah.
Like she saw like maybe like her part of that universe, but it's a
Maybe
really
I am
beautiful
wrong.
sequence.
Yeah. Maybe she thinks
Yeah.
maybe I am wrong.
Well, I think also too because of Donnie making this decision, right? She's gonna be the one that ends up on that plane now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah.
she is gonna.
His mom
pass.
wasn't there, so she. Yeah.
Yeah. Jim Cunningham has to live with like the guilt of what he's doing.
What he's done. What he's.
Yeah,
continuously
he's not
doing, if he's
caught,
gonna
and
do it
like
before-
you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like,
It's almost like you get to see yourself from the outside.
yeah,
I think a lot of people with their shitty behavior, like if they could actually see themselves from the outside doing it, they would probably wake up sobbing like that.
right.
They would go, ew.
Yeah, because it's like the most reprehensible thing a human being can do is to like hurt a child or like corrupt innocence, and just to know that's what you are. It's probably a suitable punishment for him. I would hope that down the road he did go to jail, but I think that's a really strong moment.
Yeah,
What was
we see where Frank? Obviously Frank will live now. Maybe same with Gretchen.
I was gonna say,
And-
what was Charita's outline?
She looked very like he says it to her. He's like, one day I forget how the wording is, but he's like, one day
Things will be
everything
better
will be
for you.
better for you.
And
Yeah.
she
And I
runs
think that she
away.
understands that. Like, I think that she like it's like she's like the only one that
to-
wakes up kind of looking very peaceful.
So
Yeah.
I have a question. Does it, and tell me if I'm completely off board with this. He breaks the water main for the school, right? Charita is there. Was she gonna shoot the school up that day?
No.
No. She hadn't had enough, and that was the day that she was gonna go
she,
in.
She
and,
has like.
I don't know. I just
No, she-
and if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. But I got the vibe of like she's done putting up.
No,
with
I think if
everybody's shit
anything,
and-
that explains her earmuffs. It's like a person who's
She's
just
blocking it out.
Yeah, blocking the world out because she just is just dealing with like abuse all the time.
And I also love him going home with
yeah.
them on his ears. With
Also-
Yeah.
just beautifully-
Also shutting out all the bullshit.
yeah.
But yeah, that waking up and they're all kind of gonna at some point carry that memory with
That
them.
timeline,
It's like
yeah.
somewhere in their subconscious. Like I imagine it's gonna slip away from them like any dream. But it's like when you wake up and you're just like, oh, like some really powerful thing hits you and you're just like, oh, it's there. And then I don't know, like you probably just forget about it later on in the day because life happens.
Yeah, and some of them are like even just awake and maybe like they're just feeling a moment of depression, like or from not like experiencing the timeline, but you know what I mean. And
Yeah,
like,
Kitty and Gretchen have a moment.
Yeah,
It's such a sad moment because it's almost like she's like they do recognize each other, and it's almost like wow, like you like loved my son, you made my son happy. There's like something like that exchange I just always
At the
thought was
end.
very like sad. You know what's like really rough? So like you see the coroner's wheeling Donnie's body out,
yeah,
and it passes Elizabeth, and it's like, you could just really tell that she was like really bringing herself to the idea that was like her brother.
yeah, like
Like
actually
she's
Jake.
like devastated,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like the dad also is just, it's so real. Like all their reactions to what's going on. I think Kitty not quite there yet. Her just like smoking that cigarette by the outside.
Well, that kind of goes back to the scene of the father and the mother in the bed, where he's talking about his friend who had died, and the father is like, "That could have been our son," and the mother is just like, not absorbing any of it
It's like
whatsoever.
watching Dateline or something.
Yeah, but like that kind of goes to where they are at the end and how they feel about that.
Yeah, and so at the end we see, the results, right? Like the next day. And by dying, Gretchen shows up and she's like, "What happened?" And so the neighbor basically gives the rundown, like a jet engine fell and killed Donnie Darko. And she looks on and she sees the family grieving and they're all crying. And she shares this moment with the mother that's kind of I don't know, like it's weird, like how would you explain that moment? It's kind of
I just feel like there's, and again, I just imagine it's something that slips away throughout the day, but there's just like a moment where they recognize the importance of each other, I feel like the Donnie's mother sees Gretchen and there's something inside of her head that's just kind of like, oh fuck, like you loved my son, like you knew my son.
yeah.
And then she's like looking at her and just being like I remember being in your house, I remember your son. It's just like it's there for just like a split second and then it's gone.
Yeah.
It's almost probably gone the second the kid like waves.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I was gonna say too. What do you think is Gretchen's fate? Have you thought about this?
Like where she ended up.
Yeah, because of her stepfather eventually probably shows up on Halloween, and like the mom goes missing and stuff. So Gretchen has to leave and go somewhere safe, and at this point, like who, you know what I mean? Like
Where does she have to go?
Where does she go? Like obviously, if Donnie did see her future being a nicer, brighter place. Like
I think there's probably a lot of say pain during 88. You know,
Right.
but I do think that where she ends up down the road is somewhere better. Like it's something that he sees in that thing coming out of her. I think he sees like her future being something that's like beautiful and happy, and like that's what he's laying his life down for.
Yeah.
So I think
Okay.
that everything turns out well for her.
And also, not everyone ends on a happy note, because obviously Kitty will still die, or Farmer, right? And S. Darko.
Not necessarily.
You don't think so?
No.
Because I think that plane still has to crash. You know what I mean? Like it's
So,
still
like,
part
that
of the
loop?
process. Yeah, but like, so you don't think they ever go to Vegas, like the Sparkle Motion?
I mean, who knows? I mean, like
That's
it's
what I
like
mean,
that
like
butterfly effect kind of thing, where like maybe
Maybe they like because the town was
Like,
in
maybe,
disarray from all the
yeah,
vandalism.
or like maybe like Samantha doesn't really want to participate in Sparkle Motion because she's grieving her dead brother.
Oh, true.
Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I feel
okay.
like stuff like that. Like maybe she's just not a part of it.
Yeah, like she. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Because I thought about that. I was like, oh, well, yeah, he saves his mom, and he saves, like, Frank, and he saves Gretchen, but the negative aspects of it are, like,
The only real negative I would say is probably just the fact that Jim Cunningham
isn't
caught. But I mean,
Yeah.
you have to believe that eventually it would happen.
Right.
But
You would hope.
you would hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say other than that, obviously, it's more on the positive side because obviously Drew Barrymore, her character will probably keep her job because she only gets fired because of the rise of the vandalism that's
Yeah.
happening. So she ends up keeping her job, which I'm sure is great. Like we see she's in bed with Noah Wiley's character, right? Like,
Yeah.
And so they don't have to have that strain on their relationship now and stuff too.
Was
But, like,
that the director's cut, or was that actually in the
That's
movie?
in the movie.
Okay. You say
Yeah.
so.
I think, like, at the end of the day, I think Donnie making that choice is made with the assurance that the people that he loved ended up being okay and being happy.
Yeah.
I think it's just like that act is like, yes, it does save the universe in a grander sense, but it's also almost like by me not getting out of bed, everything works out for all of you.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. But
How fucking heavy was this movie?
heavy?
Yeah. Because I don't know if you know, like the last half hour has been very somber, and we've been very deep in thought. but only because we all appreciate this movie for what it is and how it affected us and wherever we were at a certain point in our life. But it's this movie is like fucking. This is one of them. Like as far as movies go and how we all feel about film and motion pictures and to get really in depth in things, like this is it, man. This is why we do the thing, right?
Yeah, I think the movie does bring a lot of heavy thoughts.
Which it should.
Yeah.
Last week we were talking about American Beauty.
Uh-huh.
That's a heavy movie.
Yeah.
This is a heavy movie too. Like just the scale of what they're talking about, and this is one of the first movies that I remember people bringing up psychological health, bipolar schizophrenia, and talking about how mental health is an issue in this country, and it's a thing that you need to talk about and discuss.
Yeah, it also probably just dialed into like people of our age group.
Yeah.
You know, just
yeah.
how we felt and how we saw the world
And how fucked up our world is that we yes. Yeah.
Well, it's like everyone connected with it, I guess.
Yeah.
What are you doing over there?
Well, I was gonna say, okay, so your final thoughts on this film? Did you love it?
It was okay.
Yeah.
This is one of my jams. This is up there for me. Again, I wish I would have found a different director of photography because some of these shots were just amateur.
Oh, dropped the ball.
It really just dropped the ball.
You would swear it's
No.
the guy's first film.
I mean, honestly, Kubrick, if he were to, like, this is up there with, like, just the way things look and panning and, like, as simple and as dumb as that sounds, like, just simple panning and the way things look in this they're just beautifully done. Like that opening, like I keep going back to it, but that opening scene of Donnie laying on the ground and how they come around the hillside and just look at him and like just there's also like that slow-mo shot of just everything looks beautiful in this. Like there's nothing wasted in the sense of like, oh, they could have done this better or lighting could have been changed. This thing's fucking phenomenal, off the charts. It's really good.
Yeah.
How about you? What'd you think about it?
It's okay. No, I'm just kidding. No, I love this movie. I don't even know how many times I've watched it at this point, but it's definitely on the past 10 at least. But like, it's really, really good and great cast, great directing, great story, great music. Love all the choices they made. I love Love Will Tear Us Apart and Echo and the Bunnymen and
I watched this with subtitles on, and every time it said ominous music, I was like, yeah, that's pretty fucking ominous. Like that's how you do ominous music.
yeah, it's good. And Gary Jules and Tears for Fears, awesome
In
use
Excess
of
at the
those
beginning.
songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Rory, this is your first time, right?
First time seeing this. Yes.
Roy, do you watch this every year or something? I heard of.
I can't say I enjoyed it. I thought it was rather amateurish. No, I find the idea of taking what we said at the very beginning of the episode, the idea of like framing something in a very like John Hughesian kind of way,
Yeah.
and then layering in all these like high concept sort of things, you know, like
Yeah.
you're introducing like time travel and like alternate universes, and it's so understated.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
the stuff that's not addressed is just as powerful as the things that are addressed. I loved having a movie at that age where there was just like it was just so clever, and it gave you just so much to talk about with other people. Like, what was your interpretation? What did you get from this? Why are you so angry having watched it? Someone would be like, dude, I don't fucking get it. And you could just have conversations about it. And I love movies like that. I don't always really like when movies are just overly explained. Like, I love when they just kind of give you like enough to draw your own conclusions to you know what I mean? Like, you and I could watch something and have two completely different reactions to it.
Right.
So I feel like this movie was just like, I don't know if it was an accident. Like, I don't know if all of this was just something that Richard Kelly planned.
Yeah.
Because even like if you listen to him in commentaries, it sounds like he's just kind of like, yeah, that's what it was supposed to be. Like sometimes it just
Like
seems like
serendipitous.
serendipity. Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
So no, I would say this is one of my personal favorite movies ever. It's certainly one I've seen the most.
I know that you like the writing and you're big on writing. What did you think of the look of it?
Oh, it was just everything, man. Like everything, like across the board, I just thought was a home run. It's like we talked about the cast already, but cinematography, you know, was beautiful and looked exactly the way that it needed to. There's like that movie theater scene will be in my brain for the rest of my life.
It'll be in everyone's brain. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so beautiful looking.
And just because I like to know, because I know this is your bag, what did you feel about the script and the writing of this? Just Jake Gyllenhaal's character. What did you think of how he was written into this movie and how he played it out? Because I'm sure there was things that they had in mind. And
what was interesting about his character was that, like, what we touched on a little bit at the beginning. Like, I love that there's this kid who essentially was supposed to die.
Mm-hmm.
And so this alternate timeline kind of starts. And everybody's kind of like aware somewhere that this is wrong.
Yeah.
That like that something bad is going to happen unless we course correct, right? I think his character is just so interesting because he really does. He starts the movie, he's very angry.
Yeah.
And then like
he's a dick. He's a dick to his little sister,
he's just troubled, you know. He's got like mental, like we were saying before, like mental health issues. But like I love the fact that within his journey, there was just 28 short days where he was able to kind of like fall in love and learn to love his family, and he, you know, I mean, he just basically got to understand why they were worth giving his own life for. It's like the most amazing thing you could do for people that you love is just to be like, I will lay my life down for the people that mean everything to me. And he had to learn that.
Yeah.
He had to go through this like journey of just like, you know, figuring out what his life meant to him before he can walk away from it.
Yeah.
So I just, the idea, and I said before, it's everything that's said, and more importantly, the things that are not said. And that's why I'm not a big fan of the director's cut, because I feel like they do explain things a little bit too much. I love what's left to the imagination in this movie, because I watched the director's cut probably once or twice, and I can't go back to it, because I feel like it kind of removes a lot of what's really special about the movie.
Knowing what I know about you, I understand what you're saying, but I also want to say that for all the dum-dums out there, like me, thank you for the director's cut, because it gave me a little bit more depth into understanding what exactly was happening, because like many people who watch this movie, I had a lot of questions at the end of it.
Sure. Well, dude, the first time I saw it, I had the same thing. I'm like, what? And then, like, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, oh, wait, I think that means this, and, oh, that's neat. And I haven't seen too many movies that have ever, maybe since then, that have ever actually left me with so many questions that I could actually find answers to the more I thought about it. It's like my brain was doing gymnastics after I watched it, and I love that. I wish more movies would give the audience more credit like that.
So, just real quick, off topic, and I know that we got stuff to do. Give me a better movie that is better the second watch than this. So you see this movie the first time. Give me another movie that's better when you watch it the second time.
Oh, any movie?
Yeah.
The second time? There's a movie by this really small director who not a lot of people know about or even heard of, named Christopher Nolan. He did a movie called The Prestige.
Yeah.
And that is one of the best movies to just rewatch.
Okay.
Because every time you rewatch it, you're going to get
Something
much
new.
more. Yeah. Because it's all about magicians and stuff, but also you're also like breaking down performances.
Yeah.
And why the character is doing certain things in this scene. And it's definitely one of those movies that it just, every time you watch it, it just
gets a little bit better.
Yeah.
So I mentioned this before. I would say Fight Club, where you see Fight Club the first time and you're blown away by it, but the second time you watch it, you're like, holy shit. I think this is one of those movies that, like, yeah, it's great the first time you watch it, but the second time you watch it, you're like, oh, wow.
The movie that I would say benefits the most from repeat viewings for me was Vertigo.
Still haven't seen it, but I will.
The Hitchcock movie Vertigo. The first time I saw it, I was like, I liked it, and then I kept thinking about it, and I was like, maybe I should watch again. The second time I watched it, I was like, oh, like I really like this movie. And then like the third time I watched it, I'm like, I love this movie. And so where I'm at now with it, I'm like, it is top 5 favorite movies of all time for me. Vertigo. But it started off in one that I wasn't sure how I felt about it. But I noticed that within my life, most of, if not all of my favorite movies were ones that grow on me. Yeah. They're not like immediately me being like, oh yeah, that's it. That's the best movie I've ever seen. They're like these things that like they infect me.
Yeah.
You know? Like I remember like American Movie, the first time I saw that, I'm like, that was funny. And then the second time I watched it, I'm like, oh, this is like my heart. Yeah. This is how I feel. Yeah. I think Vertigo is a terrific example of a movie that benefits from multiple viewings, and there's so many layers to that
The
movie.
Shining too.
Shining.
I was gonna say, side note, people have told me like Vertigo, like the score is ridiculous.
One of the
score
best.
is one of the best scores you'll ever hear
It's
in any movie.
beautiful.
Ever, so,
Even the opening credits, the Saul Bass opening credits,
Yeah.
you know, they're just like remarkable.
Yeah.
But
all right, guys, give me a
right.
guess on what time it is, because I'm shot. I'm about at that point. We're at
1:30.
1:30 in the AM.
All right.
I'm excited. Do you want me to give my plug?
Well,
Well,
first,
let's do some emojis.
Yeah, your
Oh,
emojis.
my emojis.
Yeah,
You-
I already have mine.
Go ahead.
I worked on them already. I have a little bunny face, an axe, and a plane.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have an eyeball. I have a thumbs up, and then I have the little thing for the movie clacky thing.
Yeah.
I like that. But this movie, I'll give it another thumbs up, even though I didn't. If you haven't seen this movie, good God,
This is
go
fun
out
to
and,
watch.
and check this thing out.
It's not even like you have to watch it like multiple times.
Yeah, sit down, buckle up, because this thing is fantastic. Roy, you got emojis?
I do. I also had a bunny. I have a plane.
Why do you guys have bunnies?
I have a dog because of the mongrel
Oh, right.
statue. I got an axe, and then I got the mice that we hear about but never see.
That's good.
I like
That's
that.
good. I like that.
Baby mice is what she calls them.
Yeah, let's get into plugs. Vince, you want to go first?
First thing I was going to do is I have Adam Farley because I love his music. But then I also know that our friend, he was in a movie recently with Rory. Chris Alou, he's got music coming out, right? I think he does.
His EP is out.
He's got his EP out. But the main thing I want to plug is so this November is election season. And I just want you guys to know about, we have this guy, his name is Michael Dukakis, okay? Governor of Massachusetts, longest serving governor in Massachusetts, Greek-American governor, part of the Democratic Party. So if you're out there voting this year, please just take a quick look at Mr. Michael Dukakis, please and thank you. Yeah.
Well, when half of your husband's paycheck goes to the federal government, you'll regret that decision.
Why my husband's paycheck?
My husband's paycheck?
Why not my
Aha! I wasn't going to let that one go. I got your Michael Dukakis joke.
Thank you.
But yeah.
No, that's it.
Thanks
That's
for
it
taking
for me.
that seriously.
I'm exhausted. Yeah, let's do this. What you got?
I
What
got
you got
some
for
shit
me?
real quick. I'm just going to rattle off some real quick things. I got Raven View Productions. Look it up on Facebook, YouTube, and if you don't, go fuck yourself.
Heard about it.
Fourth Cut Reviews. That's our buddy Chris Conforti doing his thing, both writing reviews and doing stuff on Fourth Cut Reviews. Kitties of an EPA Pet Rescue, the only worthwhile thing that I should mention because they save cats. I love cats, and if you don't like cats, then I don't like you.
Donate.
NEPA Horror Fest. Yeah, donate some of your money, you scumbags. NEPA Horror Fest is on June 22nd, 2024. You can go to the Circle Drive-In in Dixon City. You can meet Tony Todd. You can meet Virginia Madsen. They're going to do some meet and greet action. It's run by my buddies Bob Keller and Jess Mione. Go and support them. Support them, god damn you. Variant Season, our buddy Will Parna's band with Mark Janos. You can come and look them up on the Facebook and the YouTubes and stuff like that so you can listen to their awesome music. And of course, I would just feel like the biggest bastard if I didn't mention Gravy Diggers, our friend's Pop Pie business, whose birthday is actually today. So happy birthday, Matthew Rinaldi. You got a year to your life, and because of your pot pies, you have taken years off ours.
Yeah, Matt.
EJ, what's some plugs you got going
Happy
on?
28th birthday, Matt.
Yeah. Happy birthday,
Happy
buddy.
17th birthday.
Yeah, I would say.
Roy, that was phenomenal.
Yeah, that was
really
excellent.
good.
Thank
That was
you.
really
I'm
good.
not gonna lie, that was really good.
Thank you.
I want to do Battle of the Bards. That's coming up in May at the V Spot. Friend of the show, kind of host Maggie Roche wrote something for,
Maggie?
or is going to write something for it. So make sure to check that out. Then the Eastern Tribute Collective, which you can find on Facebook or on Instagram or etc.com. It's Jon Snow, friend of the show. If you listen to Hellraiser, one of the funniest dudes ever. And just
His wife's kind of cool too.
He's the new metal messiah. He's just like the best.
The Metal Messiah. What a
I love
cool
it.
name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you have NEPA Movie Maniacs, which Joe Petito and Mike Vinch, the Vinch worked on.
Vinci.
Vinci's.
Yeah, Vinicius. So they co-created with Justin, and it's a great way to connect with other movie fans and maybe do some meetups and go see movies together, which is awesome. And also they have like movie news on there and all that.
Also, if you want to make weird, obscure comments, please go ahead.
Please harass them. Feel free.
Please
And then
do.
also, Mike, he also has a thing called Shantytown Design, and you could go on shantytowndesign.com, and
he does the social media thing with advertising and all that stuff that most people don't know how to do, but he does it well.
Yeah, he
Like most
that's
people
his-
think they can do it, but like he actually does it well.
And if you're sitting there listening right now thinking that you could do it, you can't. So don't even try.
It's not possible.
Yeah,
You'll just
stop
fail.
it.
Yeah.
Just ask him to do it for
Don't
you.
even try. Don't take chances because you're just going to fail.
Just go on to shantytowndesign.com and have this guy just do it for you.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah. He just pay him and have him do it for you.
Give him
Yeah.
money and he'll do it.
There's a good chance your lover will leave you if they see what you can do. Just let
Yeah.
Mike do it.
Yeah. Mike will do it, and then you can stay with your lover.
Yeah. Everyone wins.
I feel like, is that on his business card?
It is.
If you let Mike do it, you'll stay with your lover? Is that his slogan? What is...
I think it's
Hell of a business.
from now on. I hope Mike is like listening
Mike, I'm
to
sorry.
this, and he's
I'm
like,
sorry,
you know
Mike.
what? That's a good.
That's it.
I like
That's
that.
the thing. Yeah.
I'm keeping that.
He's got a paradigm shift now. Change
yeah.
his business. Got it.
But with that being said, guys, thank you so much. Please make sure to rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify, 5 stars only. And if you could, please just feed Vince. If you could stop by 3 Jacks
For pennies a day.
for pennies a day,
For pennies a day.
ask him for the special. He'll give you a little smooch.
It's the Georgia cowboy with a side of drywall.
Of an angel.
Also, make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. You can find pictures and exclusive content that is for that, right?
It's exclusive.
Exclusive. And also, you can email us at freakquelpodcast.com and send us all the things you want to hear us berate Vince if you want. That we're cool with that.
And also, if you want us to have Vince watch all the Twilight movies, let us know.
No.
Yeah.
Don't
Oh,
do
yeah.
that.
Email us. Let us know if you are down to hear Vince do all the Twilights.
Here's the thing. I am willing to do all 3 Twilight movies in a row, in succession, as long as Dukakis wins the election.
Oh, well,
Don't tell him it's not 1988.
I will. Don't worry, I won't. So, email us that you want that, or even if you're looking for some drywall, Vince is your guy. Also, with that being said, guys, thank you so much for listening to Freakquels. We couldn't do this without you guys.
We could, but we do it anyway.
Yeah, we do it anyways. But, guys, thank you so much for listening to...
I'm voting for Dukakis.